All right, GKG here for another Myth Podcast episode. I am joined by Asmo and Limp. Limp, you're kind of like becoming a co-host now at this point. So,
Seems that way.
yeah, it's like almost like I should probably actually just give you the fucking role and invite you to the co-host chat and everything. Anyway,
This is my one way to still be a part of the community, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. So we are going to cover the MWC 2025 bottom bracket finals that were just played against the Men in Tighter Tights team versus Z Snake. You guys ready to crack open these films?
Ready
So
indeed.
All right, I loaded up game one. Skim the PT here.
I noticed that both teams only had 7 players show up. So
Yeah. It was and the scheduling was like really awkward, right? Because we're playing on a freaking Friday night. It's kind of unusual. Like, obviously, hurts the Euros. I think both teams didn't have much Euros. We had Killerking actually got up at like 3 a.m. to play this fucking match.
yeah,
So
I'm not even
props to
certain
him.
exactly. I'm not exactly certain who's on Z Snake, but do they even have many Euros? Like,
Maybe
seems
not.
like
Maybe not.
seems like they're just missing mostly what like Shy and I feel like there was someone else that had last week who was helpful for them. I guess Shy, Argos. I think there's someone else that they had shown kind of consistently, but it seems like this is pretty much like their core roster right here.
I can explain our strat a little bit. You can see it on the map already. We're circling the little soul hills next to the flags. We traded 3 souls. Basically, the idea is we're gonna put 1 soul to kind of try and contest and defend those flags. I think we kind of misjudged it a little bit. I think 1 or 2 of those flags we thought were defendable by a soul contest, but a Tro could still kill it on the hill. I think
Yeah.
we probably bungled that a little bit, but yeah, that was the general idea. Otherwise, this is basically Desert Ruins. I mean, if we've anybody familiar with our Desert Ruins strat, which Homer taught me, I just want to shout out to Homer. He gets credit for this. He fucking taught me this strat. Um, it's basically like a couple morts and just massive melee, right? So that's the general idea here.
game
And
on.
I'm gonna pause. I'm paused at 11:58. Looking at Rats, he does something similar. Like, Rats trade here is not terrible. He just goes for more arty, but the key is he didn't get like heavy souls, right? So that's good.
Yeah, which
That would
is
be the big fuck
strong
up.
for him. Yeah,
Yeah,
which he does quite often.
yeah. So I
I kind of taking a look at the two. I mean, this map has really not been played a whole lot. I remember playing it in the mid 2010s in an all-star match, and I recall that artillery would ended up being pretty powerful since the map seems to just be drawn down the river line. So I remember the artillery actually being pretty strong here.
Yeah, if you do a BC arty fight, at the middle river, then sure. What does favor the arty a little bit more is how narrow and constrained the map is. I mean,
Yes,
possibly.
it's a small map.
It's
It's a
it's
very
hard to
small
get the
map.
surrounds on the fucking arty, basically. Is why I say that. But
Yes.
um, yeah, I mean, this, I still like our trade better. I think we did screw up over relying on the souls a little bit, which we'll see a little bit later in defending the flags. But I think this was a bigger. We'll get to it. I'm not gonna
Sure.
spoil it. So
Just from looking at it from not having seen it before, I feel like it's a missed opportunity with 5 Tro not having you on any Trow. That's
Oh yeah, so Asmo
my
called
my
that
my
out too. Yeah, so that was a discussion internally on our team. That was totally intentional. I voluntarily, we would normally have me on Tro this match for sure. I voluntarily sat the Tro. LSO wanted a Tro to kind of redeem himself from getting his Tro trapped the previous
I
match.
see. Yeah.
And I wanted to give him the chance to get that redemption. And then Kirk's been sitting out of Tro the whole tourney. Well, I think we got him a little bit in the QR, but then he hasn't Troed in a while, so he wanted to Tro. I was fine with it, so. Go
Who's
away,
trolling
Lydia. Go to bed.
their team? Got Adrenaline and Monty. That seems fair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I maybe wouldn't have done it any different.
Yeah, the only other guy who maybe I would have considered is Rawr, but he's seemingly been pretty inactive for a long time, so maybe
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think that's that.
I would almost try Ratking. I don't know how Thal is on Tro either, to be honest. They don't have any great options, honestly. Not against our Troers, but hey, like, we'll see. It turns out okay for them. Let's start it. Let's start it. You guys ready?
Okay. Yeah.
11. I'm at 11:58. Are you there?
Let me get to 11:58. Yes, I'm in there.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I think Adrenaline's the clear option for their team on Trow, and after that, yeah, it's between Monty and Rawr to agree with that.
Flag
Yeah.
captured.
Yeah.
And Rawr, they haven't been getting him any like big
Flag
games at all, probably
captured.
because he hasn't put a lot.
I feel like I've seen Ratro okay sometimes. Maybe not
Flag
like as the
captured.
primary aggressor or anything, but
Flag
the problem is
captured.
like he still struggles.
Flag
I think with
captured.
capping and trying. I mean, most people do trying
We
to
see
cap
that
and heavy
later.
hit at the same
Flag
time.
We see
captured.
that later on. In the match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna beat myself up hard on this game.
Go for it.
Just so, yeah, I don't want anybody to ever say I don't call out my own mistakes. I absolutely do. I will crucify myself. No problem. I don't give a shit.
I think the idea is pretty straight up from the start of this game. They get 3 tags first, which is pretty beneficial to them based on the trade they got. Because you guys are probably going to be forced to push at some point. Like, you have to break the stalemate.
Yeah, like looking at this South right now, like I didn't feel great. We were supposed to push the South, but I didn't feel great about it. Just matching up with what they had there. They're like I just felt like if we pushed right now, their whole mid was just going to converge on us. You know what I mean?
They got like 5 boards in there. Or 4
Yeah,
boards in there,
exactly. So I think maybe actually I did make the right call in holding off right here, but where I made the bad call was not recognizing when we needed to push sooner, which we'll see later.
Was your Myrk flanks part of the strat, or is
Yeah.
that just Paris thing?
No. That Paris did the right thing. We were trying to. This is us trying to extend them, right? Like we realized we have the melee advantage. We're trying to overextend them. And if you look, I mean, like, if he needed to rush Rawr right there, he would absolutely kill Rawr. I mean, he's just got to block a couple lock shots and then he's got him, you know. So.
No, I like the Myrk flanks for sure. I actually thought they should have been more aggressive. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I actually
Like,
think
they
he
got
could
the
have gone
backfield
all the way in
time.
their backfield, yeah, and been totally
even
behind
Myrk
them.
in the north.
Because then he could have threatened their flags, and then we could have pinned them on their flag. Yeah, you're right.
It's just always difficult when you see like the red behind you and in front of you, like your decision making just starts to falter.
You know,
Like, even if they get kicked by the Trow, their Trow are gonna have to flank, and then you guys can push whatever south or mid. You know. Like,
I
you guys
can't
can-
blame Paris for that though at all. That is 100% on me again because I remember I think Paris tried to go in the backfield. He was trying to make the right play there probably, and I think all of us told him to come back because at this point our mindset is like we're trying to run the timer out right now, and we were worried about him getting trapped back there. But you're right. I think you're still right because it would have forced their whole team to collapse. They would have given up all the chokes at the middle river, and then we could have set up like a really nice surround. Like they wouldn't have been able to kill Paris before we pressured the rest of their flags and everything, you know. So that's my fault. Yeah, totally. I made some bad calls this game, and I think Paris was trying to make that play too. So I give him credit. I fucked it up. So.
I mean, we could see your plan, right? Like once they had the 3 flags, pretty stalemate. I called like, okay, well you guys are obviously just gonna run the timer out and do a push and still flag at the end of the game.
Yeah,
That was
definitely our plan. That was definitely our plan. Yep. But I'll say where I think I made the mistake. It's not quite here yet. The other mistake, I guess I should say. Although again, like if Paris had just gone straight in their backfield, that would open up the whole fucking game. We would have been able to rush just everywhere. I think.
Yeah.
That was an opportunity. I missed it. It's totally my fault.
Well, it could have gone one of 2 ways. It could have also gone the bad way where he doesn't communicate and rushes something. That's that.
No, I don't think Paris played well this match. I don't, you know.
Yeah,
I think
no,
he
I'm
would
just
have
saying
been
that-
fine.
That can happen for anyone once they
Yeah,
extend and find
sure.
an entire team.
I think Paris
so.
was gonna do it though the right way. I think he would have had it. So basically, okay. So here now you're starting to see their north cross a little bit. This
But yeah,
is
I
as soon as they crossed is when I should have called for a push south. That was my big mistake. So like right now I should be calling for the push south. And you're gonna see like Kirk and I are having a discussion right now where about having him send his tro north and him handing his malls off to me, which you're gonna see him do. But that's just the wrong play. That's like a fucking Raziel mindset, you know, very reactive, and that's totally on me. Stupid. It's honestly one of the dumbest things I've done in a while. So, not that I haven't done plenty of dumb things, but that one.
I was honestly shocked that Rat's team got aggressive. I thought they were gonna just try to camp out. Like, props to them, to be honest, because I thought they were just gonna let you guys play out your strat just as you wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I think they saw that the artillery advantage was actually pretty strong because the difference is only 6 mauls.
No, it's more than 6 malls, Limp. They got 4 more arty pieces than us, so that's 8 malls.
they had 16
but we got
malls,
souls. We got
22.
souls. You're right. I had another bad move there. I shouldn't have let my Myrk die there. That was fucking stupid too. This is just a bad game for me. You know, drop this one in the bucket for me. This is a really bad fucking game for me. So. All right, yeah. Now we're calling the rush south, but it's like a minute too late. I think we should have done it a minute earlier. We should have showed more initiative and aggression here. Kirk's tro do take a little more damage than I would have liked to have seen right here. I would have liked to have seen the tro behind the malls more.
They actually liked the endurance try right there.
Yeah.
Pretty clean from them.
Flag captured.
Okay, so like right here, I think we're starting to call Kirk to go back because we realize that.
It wasn't a bad rush.
Yeah, we realize though that our flags are definitely in trouble. And we need to. This game is so coin tossy, dude. Like it's like Clash Elmoth, you know? Like it always plays out like this. So we know it's gonna be a race for the last flags now.
Remaining.
Yeah, I really don't think victory and imminent matters on this, like, at all. It always comes down to this scenario
Flag
right here.
captured.
It's such a small map that it seems like it would always get tagged out.
And here, this is the other mistake. I mean, this is minor detail because I fucked up way more earlier, but like LSO stuff should have been on top of that flag 5. It's like a little off to the side too much. I'm not sure if this soul gets kicked by the tro, and that's what tags it. I'm not sure if the soul could have backed up more. I'm not sure. Like, that's something we need to test more, but...
It looked pretty close. Like,
it looked close, yeah. I agree. But yeah, no, I think I'm basically 100% to blame on this one. So that's on me. All right, that was game 1. That was my one fuck up. I think the rest of the match I'm fine, but...
I'd say that was a massive one for Z Snake too. They had been 0-10 previously. Like
yeah. That was like, okay, we can't get swept now, right? Yeah. Okay, our strat on this one is... I like our strat on this one. This is like, again, the Archer, Thrall, Siege, Force type strategy we're doing, but it's with 2 Archer packs. That's because it's a little more narrow and there's just like not enough to do with the rest of the points. We opt for a second J-Man, no dwarfs. Again, I really like that setup. There's a lot of times like I like not having a fucking dwarf to worry about defending, and having those extra heals with the J-Man is nice too. So I think it's something people should think more about in their trades. I think.
That was the one thing that Raziel got right, was no dwarfs.
Did he like to do that a lot? I don't remember.
Yeah, he hated dwarves.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, nothing else worked out, but I think that's funny. I think that was at a time, though, where that meta was not particularly strong, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's, like, heavier archers.
Yeah.
He
was trying to implement stuff that, like, honestly, his trades probably would have been, like, strong at points for how the game eventually ended up being, but there was no like proper implementation of them
his
at all.
execute like I don't like I had his trades were like average maybe or something. Like when I think of
They
like
were wacky.
I think yeah they could be wacky. When I think of like bad traders as far as captains, like I think of like Nemesis and Ducky in particular. I don't think Raziel was as bad as them with the trades per se, but where he was really awful was the fucking execution. That was just absolutely terrible. So
Yep. I'm gonna take a look at these
Game
trades here. It looks
on.
like you guys got real similar trades.
Yeah.
The difference being that they got dwarves on a heavy water map and you got none.
yeah, I looked at that too. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of water, especially on the flag. Like, I just don't see the dwarfs doing much. And like, even in the chokes, like, okay, the chokes make it easier to defend the dwarfs, but the chokes are going to be a giant archer fight that's going to zone the dwarfs out. I really don't think the dwarfs are going to do much. So,
And I'm just seeing a lot of like really poor dwarf play too, for that matter, lately. Like just frontlining them, getting hit by a pus that they don't need. Like no one's like like blocking pus with warriors and stuff. It's just a lot of really poor dwarf play to even like buy them, for that matter.
yeah, no, agreed. That's another reason why I like going no dwarfs. Is you're right. Like, it's so hard to find it well executed. I will point out an example later in this match of actually dwarfing gone right, where it actually was done well.
Primordial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of luck involved in that too. Like it's pretty tough to like not kill one dwarf when there's what, like 12 pus on a map or something. That's
Yeah.
not
Well.
great.
Yeah. I'll have to see. You know, maybe
It's
you're
a
right.
mixture
I'll
of
have to
both, I
see.
think. It was
It
there
was
there some good-
pretty well. You're right. It is really hard still to defend the dwarf on that for sure. But it also like they did do a pretty good job defending it too.
Yeah, they did okay.
So what you're going to see here is both of us actually have very similar strats. So they do opt for the second J-man just like us. So shout out to Rat for thinking about that. They just have two dwarfs. That's the main difference, right? They got two dwarfs, and we have more thrall. So that's like, dude, that's like 12 more thrall I think that we have than them, right? Like,
I think,
Looks
I
like
think
it, yeah.
I think the second dwarf is a really poor decision. You can justify the first one. I don't
for
get
bottle
the double
pus or
dwarf.
something. Yeah, exactly. Like one dwarf at most on this, never a second one. Especially like because they send that second dwarf north where there's no archers to defend it or anything, which I think is just useless. So
It's just such an inconsequential unit on a map that has so much water. I don't know. I don't care for it here. I think that they don't even need to be bought like your trade is. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
yeah,
I
so
will-
go
We'll
ahead.
give credit to Rat though. He put up a trade that could win a game. It wasn't
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
I
very
agree with that.
similar.
Like his trades, I do think shout out to Rat. I do think his trades, at least this far in the match, were way better than what he did in the first two matches against us. So there was some improvement there. If he did anything differently with his preparation, like I would say, keep doing that. Yeah, but all right, you guys ready to start this one?
Yep.
I'm at 59. 59. I'm gonna go in 3, 2, 1, go.
So Killerking and Spin, are they dedicated boss? I'm trying to see what do they have.
I think I'd have to check with LSO, but I think we gave Spoon nothing but small pus on this one.
Gotcha.
Spoon, we had a little discussion about Spoon's pussing. I think we talked about it maybe in the last podcast episode we did too. His pussing needed some help. And he did do much better with the pussing, but he was kind of like on timeout from big pus this match, I think. And so he only got small pus, but it worked out. It was good. Actually, no, he did have some big pus, and his pussing was better. Actually, our pussing for the whole team was better. I did point out to my team, I think one thing we could have done a little bit better with the pussing is our use of small pus. I think a lot of people, they don't realize that you have to use the small pus very different than the big pus. The small pus you have to throw at near point blank range to even have a chance of hitting it, like
Yeah.
I see a lot of people throwing that small pus like they would a big pus.
Like the Hail Mary.
Yeah, and it's like if you throw it at max range, you have like basically 0% chance of hitting it. Like don't even bother. So they do a very similar strat. So I like that Rat did that too. Like he sent all the archers, and it seems like he's trying to do kind of what we did. Just
Here's what some things that I'm picking up right now. Just at a cursory glance, he kind of like crippled the warrior packs by kind of splitting off some single and double warriors to the dwarf guys. So if you take a look, both the war packs are smaller because of that. And then you also have 2 people controlling the war packs for them versus 3 for you. So pretty good chance that their micro is gonna fail to your team.
I noticed that too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's hard to even if you have same warriors, like 3v2 on even if it's the same units, like it's hard to win that. Like you're gonna get out microed.
I'd say you always want more players when there's any situation like that where the units are equal. I mean, it's just very few situations where having less players is gonna help you. I mean, probably there's some here or there, but it's pretty rare, especially for war packs, because it just gives you another angle to attack them from. Because like right now, I'm looking at North, and I don't see any way how Thal and Monty can win this fight.
Well, what they could have done maybe is push with the dwarf, but the dwarf's kind of got a hug on the land on the north side, and it would just taken a while. And then there's kind of the risk of like, well, first of all, we could bait their dwarf from the water on top of our flag, and the dwarf's not gonna be able to do shit. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And how much pus do you have up there? 9?
Yeah, probably. I think that's all big pus for them. Yeah.
I don't see it living, especially
you're right.
since you're trying.
It's impossible to defend that dwarf. You're right. Yep.
And also the dwarf is going to the least active player on their team too. So not great.
TB, yeah, their weakest player for sure too.
Captains should stop trying to split units to make everyone happy and have like a nice looking percent. I feel like Rawr and TB, them having a dwarf right now is absolutely useless. I'm not even talking about the trade. Just give those doors to the archer guys, to be honest. Just let them dedicate a pus, because now they're microing a dwarf that's doing nothing, and now they're not even messing with their pus. Like, just let them focus on the pus. Who cares what the percent is? It's about like winning the games.
And then
I've noticed something with Ratking and his goal packs too, that they just kind of like wander around.
Oh, he's got a gold pack. I didn't even what the. Oh, that's Adrenaline in the south. I thought that was Ratking. Yeah, Ratking's on a gold pack. Holy shit. Yeah, he was like a non-factor this entire game. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
The play you did talk about earlier about flanking the dwarfs north, though, that's what the dwarf should be doing right now. Will it be effective and win the game? Probably not, but he shouldn't. He's like floating around doing nothing, right? You should be pushing that north, at least trying to make your warriors fall back, so maybe you can get pushed to the flag on your north side. Here, since you guys are putting them on the south.
Yeah, now you're seeing Spoon, GKG. That's me. Spoon, Kirk, and I are like 3v1ing, well, 3v2ing anyway, Rat and Clank. Here, I get a good pus off. There's a good pus.
Ooh.
That's kind of exactly what I'm talking about, though, is that it's like just the way that the units are distributed to the players. It feels like you guys are just in a.
And that's why getting rid of the dwarves helps, right? It just makes the squads cleaner. Then they wouldn't be stuck microing that stupid dwarf, not doing anything in this fight. So yeah, this is how. By the way, I want to point out this is how archer fighting like this is done. Like, you see very little about the archer. There's very little archer on archer action. It's usually like archer pressure with goal harass or melee harass, in combination. So that's what's happening in the south here.
So that's right. Rat had a bottle pus, but he targeted Thrall with it.
Yeah, he hit 2 Thrall. Weird. Yeah, killed 2 Thrall and damaged a 3rd, and that was it. Yeah.
Like, he didn't even try going for the archers. He legitimately targeted the Thrall. Like, that's what he aimed for.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's bad. Kirk defended it well, too.
Yeah, once you guys got the few archer kills on Clank there, though,
yeah, it's just gonna be a big collapse now. Big archer advantage.
Pretty good.
We have superior goal micro too. Like this is where you need those dwarf guys microing another war pack or another goal pack.
Look at TB North. He has a dwarf, a J-man, a warrior, and 3 pus. He has 3 freaking pus, and he's not even using it because he's so focused on the dwarf.
He has too much to control. Yeah, absolutely. Why does he have 3 pus? That's insane.
I know, that's crazy,
insane.
Right?
Yeah. You can't. Nobody can micro. Like, even I would have a hard time microing that. Jesus Christ.
No one likes microing 3 pus. Like, 2 is for a war pack group.
It's almost like even if you had only 3 goals, that'd be hard to micro all that. Yeah. especially with the autoing these days. All right, my pus there wasn't the greatest. Only hit one archer, but I was able to melee down another one, and I thought LSO would be able to follow it up.
I think at this point, though, it's a good use because you just want to make them continue to collapse and put pressure on.
I got 2 of the archers red anyway from that pus, but you know.
Yeah, there it goes.
Usually I'm not too happy about only hitting one archer, but.
And Thal is just in a hopeless position right now.
Yeah,
There's nothing you can do against that.
Kirk was calling for a reinforcement.
I'm not exactly sure why the Warriors for their team split either, because now it's like up north they're at a disadvantage, and Thal is down here just kind of like trying to slow your progress to the flag, but he can't really do anything.
This is a prime example of that was a nice pus. That was LSO, nice pus there on 2 archers. I feel like this is a prime example of how trading for dwarfs, like it's almost like baiting you into like designing your squads really poorly. You know what I mean? Like that's what ends up happening. That's another reason why I don't like trading for dwarfs, is because like every dwarf you trade almost has to have a fucking dedicated guy microing it, and that can sometimes like leave that guy out of the fight and useless, and also like just like fuck up the distributions, the way you design all the rest of the squads. So that's what we're really seeing here, is like this is really poorly designed squads. The trade wasn't that different, the strat wasn't that different, but the squad distributions was really poorly designed, I think.
Yeah, I think that dwarves
Contested.
can have a benefit, but you have to have someone who's actually microing it like perfectly. If you can, in my opinion, if you can have a dwarf take 2 pus to kill it, then you're okay.
Harris picks off the dwarf in the north with the pus.
Flag. Contested.
But if you're losing a dwarf to just 1 pus, then it's just a total loss.
Here comes the big melee engagement there from Thal, but he gets pus right there.
Yeah, man, I think one of the biggest weaknesses in Myth, just like forever, has been dwarf protection.
Mm-hmm.
Like you give these dwarves these melee to protect themselves, and they're always front lining their doors or like being aggressive with their melee and trying to dodge.
Look at that pus. Do you see that Rawr pus? I laughed so hard in the game when that happened, because he just like wrecks that. Like Thal was already losing that fight, didn't really matter, but like poor Thal just got like pus owned by his own teammate right there.
Flag contested. Flag contested.
Sorry, Asmo, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, the dwarf defense is terrible. Typically, yes. I do think, I'm hoping it will slowly improve now that we've been talking about it so much on the podcast.
Flag lost.
I think a large hallmark of having excellent dwarf defense, though, is like having very precise micro, and I'm seeing like very poor micro pretty universally lately.
Yeah.
So I don't see it.
Yeah, there's a lot of footwork, and like that's a high footwork unit, and also like keeping your angles clear so you can throw and shit like that. I see a lot of people fuck that up too. Like they just like, they're not under threat, but they just don't throw enough. Like they're not throwing, you know, just like a Tro not kicking enough in a fucking melee fight, right? Like
there was a time where people were pretty accurate with having their warriors defend against the pus and like blocking it with the warriors' heads and stuff, and that is like I never see that anymore. And that used to be like fairly common, I would say, but it's all but gone.
I wouldn't say it's all but gone, but yeah, no, I hear you. Like it's that's definitely high level play for sure.
Yeah.
So in this, I would say Adren, I think, did okay against the Adren seems to be the only one who didn't like totally fuck up. Like his whole team just kind of collapsed, and there wasn't much for him to do, right? So
yeah, and again, I feel like the collapse just happened because in every situation they were down a man in the fight.
Yeah,
because they had someone controlling those dwarves, so it's just they just couldn't recover from that. And again, the distribution with the warriors seemed like it was a pretty huge deal, because you guys could have just so much more versatility in what you were going to do, and Z-Snake really couldn't. If they split off like half their warriors, then like their whole warrior push is crippled, and then whatever their warriors go to, they're just not going to be that huge of a help once it's already collapsed. So that's kind of what happened.
Was really happy that our north won too, so it was like we won like every single flank, which was, again, that's a sign of like major flaws usually. Like, okay, yeah, we have a better team too, but like that was major flaws in their distributions right there. Like
Yeah,
we were
definitely.
basically playing like 7v5, maybe almost 7v4 there because they have at least 2 players, arguably 3 out of the fight.
Yep. I'll be
Like,
back in 1 minute.
sure, sure. Yeah, like I would say Ratking, Rawr, and TB, those 3 players basically were out of the fight that game. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
I really like this game though as an example of how to do archer fights and archer pushes properly. Where this is why I said I've said before, like you don't want to like just give everybody archers. Like so for example in this we have 10 archers. The right play isn't to like split the archers 3 ways, and then have only like one melee guy or something like that. It's better to do archers 2 ways and like I always pair an archer guy with a melee guy. Always. Gold pack or war pack with pus. Because it's actually the archer on archer fighting that won't actually they'll probably not do any real damage. Like it's too easy to dodge that shit and dance around like all day. You can waste at least half the game dancing around and if it's just the archers trying to throw arrows at each other at max range, like that'll take most of the game to finish that fight, But it's the fucking melee pressure that wins that fucking fight. Those archer battles. That's why you saw me trying to micro my goals to get some harass pressure on Clank, and also I think it was Killerking maybe with me as well there with the goals too. So
You guys used a lot of pus on archers, which normally isn't the best, but it actually made sense for that map for sure. Because I mean, there's only 18 warriors if I remember right? So there's a
yeah,
lot less warriors than normal, and the map's sort of short, so you can get the pressure on fast with the archers and thrall. So if they don't have archers and you do, they're getting a lot of damage. So it's like one of those weird scenarios where actually pussing archers makes a lot of sense if you can
Plus,
get like good cost on them.
as we discussed, those squads of just 2 people on the warriors kind of makes their warrior push very ineffective too.
well, and I think too like you want to just be able to win the archer fight because then you can start running down like all their thrall and all your archers will start racking up a bunch of damage, right? And also, what's really key is you don't need to spend a bunch of pus killing their archers to win the archer fight. Like seriously, like 2 or 3 well placed pus on their archers will swing the archer fight. Like that's enough, and then you can save all the rest of your pus for melee defense or whatever, right? Like
Only like 2 to be honest. You just
yeah,
need to take like 3 archers or something like that, and then your archer advantage is just massive for pushing them back.
yeah, and the other way you can help win the archer fight without even using any pus is if you just or even doing any damage whatsoever is you just harass the enemy archer line from the side with some melee, especially if they like can get their archers just try to start shooting at your melee. That'll whenever I always like to do that. I like to harass at like a little over half distance, a little over half the max range of archers with melee. Like that's far enough away. It's close enough to the enemy archers that it makes them nervous and think that they can shoot at you, right? But it's far enough away where you can still dodge pretty well at that distance. And if you get their archers to be shooting at you, it alleviates pressure off of your archers. And then if they don't shoot at your melee and they still try to shoot at your archers, then you just go in closer, but again, you keep flanking to the side, get all the way to the side of them if you can. Then they're going to be forced to clump up. And then that also helps your archers. Like now their archers are an easier target because their archer line is more clumped up. You're going to start scoring more hits. You'll win the archer fight that way too. So I really want to drill it into people's heads that that's the proper way to do these archer fights like that at the highest level. So
Yeah, their dodge box shrinks. They get stuck in this little box.
yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Belly of the Beast.
I'm happy that this one turned out so well as a 2-team map. Very unique.
Did you make this one?
I converted it. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, a Badlands map, but it was an FFA map, and I spent a lot of time changing a bunch of stuff to make it 2-team viable.
Nice. So, and this was part of your 2020 map pack, is that right?
Correct.
Nice.
Looking at the trades, just a cursory glance at them, I definitely prefer MIT's trade. I think you generally max spiders when you can get them, especially on a map like King of the Map, or a map type or game type like King of the Map. So just a cursory glance, I like MIT's trade more than Z Snake. I will point out though, I think that the split trow can have a lot of benefit here, just because it is King of the Map. I think it gives you an opportunity to take control of more areas of the map, and with so much melee, you're able to kind of hold off the trow. But I'm really curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, we kind of went back and forth about the split versus one tro together. So I think both are pretty viable, to be honest. The thing about the split is, if you do split tro, you kind of need those trowers to also take an arty piece, probably a lot.
Yes.
You know, because
Yes.
like that's just too many players dedicated to melee only. If you don't give them the arty, and there's a lot of arty to be microed on this, right? So the reason I didn't do, I really thought, so I will just point out, LSO was the one who wanted split tro. So if you like split tro, thumbs up to LSO.
I think either can work. I think, honestly, because you're right. There are so many units that you want the micro seemingly on more packs of stuff. But yeah, I think either can work. And plus, you have a bunch of competent trowers, and they have Ratking, Monty, and Clank doing it. So if it were a straight up trow fight, it would favor you guys. So maybe that helps them by splitting up the trow. So they're kind of avoiding having that straight up trow fight.
I like
Sorry, go ahead.
I like split trow now, like 90% of the time. To be honest, I feel like when you don't split trow, your win condition's pretty straightforward for the most part. I feel like split trow gives you multiple win conditions. Like for this game type, right? You get the surround, you get the tag game early, most likely, since you're splitting trow. And the other team could do like a trow push instead of a fetch push, like that's their advantage, but the other team has to get that right to gain their advantage, and it's pretty hard to win aggressive like BC battle when you know that's the one play you have to make and the other team knows it too. It's like
Yeah.
pretty dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good point, Asmo. And I called it out to my team. I was like, I'm gonna have one pre-excuse for this match. That Belly of the Beast is the one I'm least confident in, because just for the reason that you just said, like it is a lot harder. It's just harder to execute. Like doing basically what we're trying to do on this is like a one-prong team jugger with everybody on one side. We have like a light Myrk flank just to kind of scout and tag and shit on the other side, but it is harder to execute. Our basic idea is to do a jugger flank to take their hill that the flag is sitting on their it's our far side, but their near side. And so from these positions, it's like the flag southwest of the center flag is kind of, you can see the lines on the map. It's kind of like where our big jugger push is trying to go. And basically we're trying to do like giant, tro fetch wall with the locks flanking from the side to push in there. I would have done split tro if there was a reason to get souls on this. So you could get souls on this, and that was a discussion we had as well. Souls are viable on this on other,
Game types
or meshes, because there is a lot of soul hills here. So I was actually kind of worried about trying to take that hill of theirs if they had souls. Now they didn't even get souls, so that ended up not being an issue. But normally, like, I would do split tro when I have souls that I want to trade souls for to prevent the enemy tro fetch push, right? And in this, like, I just didn't have, like, I didn't want to get souls. I wanted to get just nothing but as many stigs as possible, right? And so that's why, like, if I don't have souls, I don't think just having fetch and locks is enough to justify split tro for me. Like, just like the principles of it from my experience, the patterns I've noticed, usually I need to have souls with it too to justify it. So that was like the reasoning I was going for there. But I do agree that like split tro, totally viable. It's not like a strong advantage one way or the other, I don't think. I personally believe the way this turns out has to do with more with execution than strategy, but we'll see. We'll see. If anybody disagrees, you can call it out.
There's one more piece I wanted to bring up about personnel and trowing and the difference between having 3 or having it split 3 ways. For my like taste, I don't think there's many people like who exist in the game who are actually like suited to even taking 3 trow, and it's basically just you, GKG, and Genghis Khan are the only 2 people I would really want taking 3 trow, and I'd be comfortable with that instead of splitting it, with maybe Sam and Kruniak like in the background to that. But yeah, there's just not many people I think that like I would really trust with 3 trow. Just off the top of my head, it's really just you 2. So I think that's also part of it. I know Kirk is capable of it, but it just hasn't been his role for a while. So yeah, I think if like you were on the trow, I would definitely prefer that, just looking at it right here.
Yeah, I hear you. I do want to defend Kirk a little bit. He's a perfectly
He's a great trower.
qualified
There's no doubt
trower
about that.
as well.
Yeah,
I
he's
will have
still
some
one of
critiques
he's still a
of
good
the
trower.
trowing on this for sure. I've already mentioned it to Kirk as well, but I mean, in general, like I trust Kirk to trow. Like I trusted him in 2011 on the Bulls to trow. It was him and Genghis. I didn't even.
But
trow.
that's not what I'm saying though. I'm saying that there's only like a couple players in the entirety of Myth who I'd really want.
Yeah, no, I
taking
agree.
trow.
I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, you're right. I would
I'd
put
want him on
LSO
a
on the
single
list
trow.
too, even though LSO had one bad trow game last match, but LSO was a good trower too. But yeah, we'll talk about it. I can discuss the details of how I would have trowed this when we get to it. I think we about covered it. You guys ready to start it?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
Yeah, up to this point, both teams have had fairly similar trades on
Yeah,
every map.
yeah.
It's a couple
Rat
different
Rat did a
maps.
good job with the trade on this. Yeah, we went heavier spiders than him, but like
Flag
whatever. Like
captured.
still like he didn't bungle it
Flag
with heavy
captured.
souls. Like that's progress, right? So-
Flag
Yes.
captured. Flag
Up to this point.
captured.
right. Up to
Flag
yeah,
captured.
We'll get into some other games later. So
Flag
yeah, they got
captured.
who do they got? They got Monty,
Flag
Clank on Tro. Oh
captured.
my god.
Flag
And Ratking.
captured.
Interesting. I guess I assume
Flag
Adren probably
lost.
wanted Fetch over Tro on this.
Flag
That's probably
contested.
What happened there.
Flag captured.
I think with the personnel that they have, they kind of need that. I don't know who else you would put
Flag
on
captured.
Fetch other than like Thal and Adren.
Flag
Maybe
contested.
Monty, I guess. Like they just don't have many
Flag
Yeah.
Fetch
captured.
forward players from first glance.
So Myrk's got the
Flag
Myrk pack in the
captured.
north for us, just
Flag
kind of
contested.
meant to kind of zone out or just scout out there. I'm trying to hold the north line of our fetch, like the north flank of our fetch, while they push. Now, Myrk kind of makes a little bit of a mistake here. I think he should have retreated to me instead of going on the
Flag
outside. You'll see
captured.
later why that's a mistake. He does have a really nice
Flag
play here.
contested.
Myrk's Myrk pack gets like 4 clean hits on that tro right here. Did you see that?
I actually like what Mark's doing right now, to be honest. I think he's making Rat King's trow useless, and Rat is the one who's free with no trow pressure. He should be making big plays right now.
Well, what I would have liked to have seen is Myrk actually try to take that fight. I really wanted to see Myrk take that fight because it looked like Rat might have wanted to take it if he didn't run away. But see, because then he would have gotten big tro damage. Even if he had lost, he would have got big tro damage, which would have been worth it. Now here you're seeing there's the problem with Myrk flanking too wide is now Ratking's got a breakaway on my force, and Ratking's Tro and Myrk are just like the perfect counter against my force right now. And
I 100% like this call by Rat to break off.
Yeah, that was a great move by him. Yeah, and that's where Myrk kind of abandoned me there. He should have retreated to me. I got just destroyed right here completely. So
Rat plays it well too.
Yeah, he backed the Tro out and everything. Yeah, that was a clean kill for him for sure.
Contested.
He had Artie support coming too. Like I was totally boned. He could have actually just backed out and waited for the lock support and boned me too. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen Myrk help me there instead of abandoning me. But all right, so now
we want to watch the drop.
Yeah, let's watch this. So you're already seeing like Kirk's taking way too much damage from fetch shots. So that's.
I hate Kirk's Trout here, to be honest.
Yeah, so when you're throwing against fetch like this, you have to spread the throw out because the splash damage will add up big time. And this is something Xur was actually really good about. He would spread his throw out when pushing fetch like this.
Well, also he's like only like semi doing a trout pressure because I mean he was like floating in the middle right there, so he's like not even getting up in the fetch's face to like mess up their shots and stuff. You know, get him off
He's just staying in perfect range to keep getting hit. Yeah, you're right.
I know you guys have turned around. You're up 11%.
And here we leak a Tro, and then Paris could have trapped this Tro. He could have trapped Ratking's Tro right there, and he just let it out, and then it kicks another fetch. That was just horrible defense. And then
I thought Rat was gonna get trapped and they were gonna lose the game right there, but it ended up going their way.
Yeah.
Lost.
That whole entire engagement was a comedy of errors.
Yeah, I totally agree, Limp. That's why I really don't think, you know, it's easy for me to say trying to defend my strat, but this is like poorly executed. Like that's not how I would have trolled it. That's not how I wanted Myrk to do the Myrk pack up there.
It felt like back and forth that way though. It was like,
yeah,
I don't know what that was. It was just a lot of stuff right there. It felt like total chaos.
If you're gonna do like one of these very like middle trial strats with 3 trial to 1 player, it's gotta be you. If I'm being real, it can't even be LSO. It's gotta be you. You're the one who understands how to make it happen.
Yeah,
that's what I kind of meant.
Yeah, you might be right. I did the instructions I gave, the feedback I gave to Kirk was the way you throw that. In addition to spreading out the throw, right? Like you when you're pushing fetch, you have to either stay out of range or you're going all the way in. Like it's either or. You can't just hang out in the middle, right? Otherwise you're just taking shots all day. You have to minimize the amount of time that you're staying inside their fetch range. So
and even after that happened, it still was you guys had an advantage of 6 fetch to 3 at a point. So it's still,
we ended up losing like 2 fetch to like Stigs and Myrks, just totally undefended. So
Kirk isn't vocal on voices,
No, he's pretty vocal. He's pretty vocal.
Really, because like the thing with what you guys are trying there, like the Trouty to take what looks like a risky play that can make you look really stupid. Like you got to be in their face, 3 trial, even if you have no melee support. And you have to be able to trust that your fetcher is going to back you up and not abandon you.
Right now, this looks like it could easily go either way.
Yeah, they have a slight advantage, I would say, but it's still like we're still kind of in it, you know.
The Trow damage is pretty equal on all 3. Maybe you guys are just a slight bit down.
I'd say that, I mean, the flag game looks close. I say the big thing is MIT's whole army is trapped in the south, other than those 5 crits. Even though Ratking's team doesn't have anything beyond that south, like it's easier for them to contain MIT and get what units they need to the north, in the position they were in.
The other thing about doing a troll push like that is the thrower needs to have like 4 Myrks with the throw. And when they do the push, the Myrks are relatively resistant to the fetch shots too. And when you do the push, you ideally get those Myrks right in front of your throw and pick a melee fight with them, so that they're forced to really clump up, and that's what's going to set up your fetch to get a bunch of big hits on the clumped melee, right? And then when your Myrk die, that's when you back the Tro out, and then you just grab 4 more Myrk from a teammate and rinse and repeat. Do it again, right? That's how I would have played that.
This is really
Flag
strange because the
captured.
percents are like virtually even, but
Flag
for some reason it
lost.
feels like Ratking's team
Flag
has like way more
captured.
units on the map. Very
Flag
weird.
contested.
I think it's just some of those points are tied
Flag
up into
contested.
very low health trial. They actually have a frozen trial. Just want to know.
I think that
Flag.
I would have liked to have seen Spoon just like solely on a bunch of spiders around the map.
Flag
I don't know.
captured.
Part of me just likes that for something like this. Because
Flag
both teams were pretty
contested. Flag
just
lost.
unengaged with tagging for the whole game. It was just all that focus on that giant fight.
Flag captured.
Part of that is because it was a 12-minute clock, Limp.
Oh, I see that.
It's a
Yeah,
little on
yeah,
the long side for this.
It
So,
is long.
Yeah.
Flag
It seems like it's
lost.
just going to be a BC fight. And
Yeah, that's something we talked about too. Like as soon as we saw
Flag
12 minutes, we're like,
contested.
oh, okay,
Flag
that favors
captured.
the. I
Flag
mean, you might
captured.
think that favors the souls,
Flag
but like I
lost.
was thinking more like
Flag
just the
captured.
jugger rush. Like I felt more comfortable doing the jugger rush to one side because it was 12 minutes. That gave us more time to win that one
Flag
fight,
captured.
even if we gave up all the flags across the map for a couple minutes or whatever. We would still be okay. As long as we won the fight anyway, which we did not win. That was the
Flag
problem.
captured.
It's a really close,
Flag
really close
lost.
game though.
It was, yeah. This is the closest game in the
Flag
match.
lost. Flag lost. Flag captured. Flag contested. Flag captured. Flag captured.
Or gets his lock kicked
Flag
meta right
contested.
now without doing anything.
I was a little bit shocked
Contested.
when I was casting this that happened because that was his only
Flag
unit. How
contested.
did his only
Shit.
unit get caught by surprise? Like you have one unit to
know,
watch,
man.
man.
Oh, and then Elso finally gets stoned by double regular lock
Flag
shots. That's funny.
lost. Flag contested.
I have a funny little engagement with a Dren here in the
Flag
southeast.
lost.
You guys can watch.
Flag
Like I was,
lost.
even though I knew we lost the
Flag
map, I was
captured.
like a little pleased with myself
Flag
that I
contested.
won the little mini engagement
Flag
there.
lost.
Oh yeah,
But
I don't know if we
Flag
never pointed out
contested.
though that these are particularly these are
Flag
Warlock
captured.
heroes.
Yeah, Warlock
Flag
heroes.
contested.
They shoot like almost
Flag
3 shots in a
captured.
row without
Flag
with a full mana
contested.
bar. So here's my
And they have
little
more-
my,
they-
my little
they have more
melee
health
rush
as
on
well.
Dren in the southeast. I got 2 Stigs against 1 Stig and a fetch, and I have a spider actually too. So
I
Flag contested.
really like this
Flag
unit set. It's
contested.
pretty cool how the Warlock
Flag
heroes actually
lost.
work out pretty well here. Really good, but not overpowered.
Yeah, they
Flag
can actually
lost.
like fight with the fetch
Flag captured.
just because they shoot so quickly.
Flag captured.
I think they
Flag
can maybe even
lost.
take a direct fetch hit too and not die.
Oh yeah, that's pretty strong.
yeah, there
Flag
is a
captured.
way to kill it with a direct hit, but it's like it's got to be a perfect shot, and there's really like it's hard to tell. Like it's almost like you got to get some like additional splash lightning damage on it or something like that finally finishes it. I don't know, but there's no guaranteed for sure way of killing it in one hit, really, pretty much. But it can sometimes randomly happen.
My reason for that too is just because fetch
Flag
looked so strong
lost.
here that
Flag
I didn't just want to add
contested.
like dwarf heroes into it and have like that
Flag
element going on.
captured.
I still wanted warlocks, but I
1
just wanted to
minute
change
remaining.
it just a slight bit. So that's where
Flag
the warlock heroes
captured.
came from.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
Flag
Like they're definitely a
captured.
bigger threat to the fetch
Flag
than regular
lost.
warlocks.
And it's such a melee heavy map that I wanted to have some artillery that could counter it to some degree, other than just the fetch.
Flag lost. "30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, this was a surprising
Flag contested.
map the way it played out. It
Flag
looked like you guys.
captured.
Honestly, it
Flag
flip
captured.
flopped back and forth a couple times to which team looked to have the advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like we underperformed on the Tro maps against Asmo's team, and we did it again against Rat's team. So we have some major issues with our Troing, which is a big surprise because like we have by far the best Troers of any team, and it's like fuck, we can't fucking win the goddamn
Well, I know
Tro maps.
I'd say that the problem is obvious, but I think it's apparent. So
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be throwing more in the finals match. We'll see what happens. Maybe our throwing is just cursed. If I fuck up in the finals, then our throwing is just cursed. I don't. Who knows? So, yeah. I mean, looks like Elso got some decent damage. I mean, he matched Kirk's damage with the 3 throw. So Adren had a good game. He had fetch. Yeah.
Rawr had a pretty good game.
Rat had a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, he cleaned me out like hard.
Yeah.
And then I mean their whole team had a pretty decent game really. Rat ended up leaking his freaking tro, getting some fetch kills and then escaping. Like that should have never happened. Like if I told Paris because he had the actually let me look at that. I want to look at it one more time. We're gonna skip ahead to that time. Hang on, I'll call it out. I'm loading it up again. I'm gonna find the time on there.
Game on.
Are we looking at when
I
he
didn't
rushed you?
Yeah. I didn't really get good visibility on that
Flag
push,
lost.
tro fetch push. So
Yeah, it seemed like he was
flag
just
contested.
on you all of a sudden. And you weren't
Flag
prepared for it. Is what it appeared
Flag
to look like.
captured. Flag contested.
Here,
Flag captured. Flag
right around. Let's do it at 10 minutes. Like that's when we're really starting our tro fetch push. I'm gonna pause at 10.
I'm there.
All right, you there, Asmo?
You're good. You can just do it.
All right,
Awesome.
3, 2, 1, go.
Flag
All
contested.
right, so here we go. What I would have liked to have seen is like some Myrk with, like, again, like with Kirk's throwing, you got to go either all the way in or all the way out. I would have liked to have seen some Myrk with his throw. Because then he could have picked some better fights against their Myrk, you know?
You can see that. You can see that TB's Warlock scares him away. He doesn't want to get pinches in that bottleneck, so he runs away.
Yeah, and that's Spoon really needed to zone that out. That lock should have just been blocked completely, and just like you can't let it compromise the push like that.
Lost.
Like just block it off and zone it out.
Flag.
Like
Flag.
whoa, Kirk's Myrk like just spacebarred there for a while. Whoa, did you see that? Kirk's Myrk got like zapped pretty hard there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Flag contested.
This push is
Flag
it's just going horribly
contested.
wrong. Like I expected this push to like already take control of that hill at this
Flag
point.
captured.
Okay, we're up 6-3 fetch right now. Like it still looks
that's what I-
decent, but
That's what I was saying.
Contested.
yeah, like and I was calling everybody to push really hard. And now here you see Rat's tro come in. Paris is supposed to block that tro, but he just doesn't get the block off. We were up 6-3 in the fetch. It was looking okay for us still. And it just kind of fell apart. Now we're getting some good big fetch hits in.
Yeah, that Ratking's trow sneaking
Kirk,
into that.
Kirk kicked 2 fetch. Now we were up 6 fetch to 1 for a brief moment
Flag
until Ratking leaks through and kicks 3 fetch, and then 2 more fetch died at melee, other melee. Yeah, that was just crazy. So it like collapsed like all within about 10-20 seconds right there, right? Like it was just kind of crazy.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, yeah. I just want to point out like the thrower really should throw some Myrk in
Flag
with the throw when you're pushing like that to help absorb the damage. I think that's really important. I don't see enough throwers do that. Just like gotta have some small melee support with the throw.
Yeah. I think the main issue seemed to be that there was just no retaliation to like Ratking and TB flanking from the side.
Yeah. We need to have stronger support. On that side.
Basically, once before that happened, I think there needed to be more of an aggressive push just to completely take that hill. Since you had that 6-3 fetch advantage, there was no reason that you guys should have been walking down the hill. To my eye,
me dying to kind of force that north part of that push to kind of collapse a little bit too. So
it did, but I think there was still a window there for you guys to
for sure.
That hill when it was 3-6 or specifically more when it was 6-1 even. So, but yeah, move on to the next one.
Yeah. Now this map I'm already in the PT. This next map is kind of wonky because the Southwest start has like an overwhelming time advantage to getting to the center hill. And we almost thought about, I think there's souls on this you could trade for. So props to Ratking. Again, he gets a very similar trade as us. Doesn't go heavy souls. I think this is like a huge improvement. So when he doesn't get so heavy souls, especially the souls, he got archers on Magilla, but that was fine. He got the right amount of archers. So this is a great trade. And I'm surprised he did this, even though the Southwest start had, like, it's really tempting to get souls on this if you have the Southwest start because you get guaranteed to take that middle hill. But like our plan going into this was like, if they go heavy souls or really any souls, we're just gonna run the timer out and go for the end game. We'll sink our thrall and we're just gonna stick our stigs out front to zone their souls back and just run it out like that. And then we'll play for flags at the end. But Rat gets basically the same trade except he gets the second dwarf instead of one like we got. So, which is perfectly fine. And I don't know if they were gonna try to do the run the timer out type of strategy necessarily. It didn't really matter because they got the start that takes the mid hill first. So.
See, that's what I was wondering about. I thought initially I liked that they took the mid hill, but I didn't test the map right. Like my team's not playing this map, and so once I thought about it more, it's like, okay, you guys probably didn't fight for mid because you probably tested the map and know that they're going to get mid.
Yep.
This was a map that I was always like kind of interested in doing a conversion for, just because it does have a really cool color map, and I think Malkavian made it, if I'm not mistaken, and he just basically only makes quality maps, but. It just always felt like you guys already kind of talked about. It's not like particularly balanced for the starts, and with the mid hill being, as high as it is and having so many entrances to all the different parts of the map, it never struck me as viable for that reason. But I thought the way it played out was pretty interesting, especially since mid seemed to not really affect anything, really.
Yeah, that's kind of like we thought too. Like it felt like even if you got control of mid, it wasn't going to be that useful really, because like you would say like, oh, it's going to help you maneuver around the map more, I guess, and maybe that's a slight advantage, but we didn't really see it being that big of an advantage really.
I think that only really works out if the captain has like a really heavy hand and actually like shot calling and guiding.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I actually think mid hill should be a big advantage. It's only a big advantage if the captain takes like advantage of it though, right? Like,
yeah.
We can watch it, but I thought that getting mid hill for them was big, and I think that they just matched up with you north and south, and they didn't use the advantage of the hill. They should have used that advantage of the hill to like, okay, choose one side, pull in your north or south to the mid, and can you focus on one side of the map.
Basically,
south
shift your
north.
whole team to one side.
You don't try to fight on both fronts and use the mid as the holding portion. So the north/south, like whatever side you choose, can't come up and support because the hill's blocking them.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
this is really relevant to what actually transpires, but I'll hold that comment till it's actually happening.
Yeah. What I can say right off the bat, what I don't like is Ratking has all the freaking thrall, man. Like that's too much for one player. Like we split up our thrall 3 ways, and we still have 4 other players to micro all the other melee. So like, what is? Oh, because he's got. Again, this comes down to the freaking dwarfs. You get an extra dwarf now. You have a player tied down to a dwarf. I don't know. Like they get their melee split like a really awkward number of ways. I feel.
Yes.
Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Clank's got 2 different packs. I think it's 5 different ways. 5 different melee packs.
I just want to comment. I want to comment too that the Heron healers have the dwarves, so that's like double micro duty. It's not ideal.
I did not notice it. That is rough.
Yeah, dwarf and yeah. Now you're not microing those Huron healers in the melee fights nearly as much. Yeah. That's a great call out, Limp. That's a terrible pairing You don't put the freaking Huron healers with the Dwarfers. That's too much micro for in the hands of one player. Yeah,
Also,
you're right.
also you're basically like you're taking your fastest unit and you're like dropping the slowest unit with it, so you're always tied down to your slowest unit with your fastest
Right.
unit. It's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah. Dude, you're totally right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That here and that you're gonna see that come into play. Like, I had the Huron for our team, and yeah, I'm using that. Like, the Hurons are like, I wouldn't say like quite like Tro, but they're the strongest and fastest melee unit on this map. You need to fucking be microing that shit for sure.
They're definitely Trow light here. For the unit set, they can dominate pretty hard, especially
especially
if
once they're
start
vetted.
kills.
They start getting some kills. If they're vetted, they start dominating hard. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's very little to stop them here. I'm not even sure if like anything interrupts their heals here other than Thrall.
Thrall, Stig's might.
They might. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, bottle plus, a bottle plus, but that's like you'd have to time it perfectly.
Exactly. Just there's some really really like rare stuff that's gonna stop. Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to start it?
Yes.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on. Flag captured.
So our plan also is Myrk's got the dwarf, and where you see us circling the north kind of west part of the map, we saw that as being the most defensible position for the dwarf. That's why we called him out to put there. Like,
Flag
he's gonna just
captured.
hide that dwarf right behind the water. So he's got the thrall sunk in the water in front, and then the fast melee can block off either side to protect the dwarf
Flag
too.
captured.
Something else I noticed too, watching, is that your guys' MIT's Thrall is like engaged in the fight.
Yes.
Part of like the melee.
Right, because we have them split 3 ways. You can't.
Yeah.
The fact that Ratking has all
Flag
of Thrall in
captured.
one player, like, that's insanity, man. Insanity.
I mean, it's a very old way of doing things. That's like what Ratking would have done in like 2001.
Yeah, in his mind, he's thinking like, oh, I'll save up, the micro for my team to micro all the
Flag
other stuff.
captured.
The Thrall's not that big of a deal. But
Flag
the thing is, you give your
captured.
Thrallers also pus, right?
Flag
and they're
captured.
busy microing goals still, too.
Flag
even when they're idle with
captured.
the Thrall. So this was the game I was going to call out as an example of proper use of Dwarf and defending of Dwarf. Myrk did a really good job with the dwarfing on this map. We'll have to see if there was, like you were saying, Limp, if he got lucky. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at
Flag
him more closely.
I'm not sure he got lucky, but I think
Flag
there's
captured.
I think it's more so that
Flag
if there's this
captured.
much pus on a map, you should be able to kill the dwarf.
I
There's only
mean,
one.
if it's well defended, you can keep it alive. Like, you have to. So there's a few different things you got to do. Like, number one, you got to prevent it from getting surrounded. So you always want to make sure like there's no pus gold leaking behind the damn dwarf. That's a big thing. Number 2 is like blocking, like
Flag
melee blockers,
lost.
right? That's a big thing. And then number 3 is like actually using your own goals to zone out the enemy goals. Sometimes I will even use one pus. If I have multiple pus, I might use the first one as a counter pus. If I can kill one of their pus and spend one of mine, and now I have a free goal to help me zone out their other goals. And actually, it's another great use case of small pus. The new small pus meta is freaking huge for this because it's a great counter against enemy pus goals.
I want to point out that it looks like TB has
Flag
4
lost.
pus goals.
Oh
in the
my
north.
god, is
What,
that right?
what is up with that? He had
What
3
is
the
that?
Belgian Mania game. Now he's got 4.
Oh my
like,
god, that's
Flag
awful.
captured.
I'm also just kind of looking at what's developing in the north, and it just looks like, from what I'm seeing, Ratking's team has like very little chance of like doing anything versus the north.
Yeah, we have
for what
way
the
bigger
units I'm
north.
seeing here.
Yeah, way bigger north.
And
Flag.
it seems
they're
like everything's
dwarfs.
just
Flag
for them for
lost.
Ratking's team. It seems like they're
Flag
just kind of
contested.
have everything clumped up middle, like wandering around.
Here you're seeing an issue with the Thrall. The Ratking too many Thrall. Look, we have Spoon microing his Thrall, and he just took some unnecessary Thrall damage there. He can't watch it everywhere. Like, it's too many places to try and watch for one player. And the pus
Flag
goals,
captured.
it's too much. Even 4 goals. Even if TB only has those 4 goals, it is it's hard even for me to micro 4 damn pus goals, especially with the autoing going on more recently. Like it's
Look
just
at
terrible.
Adrenaline's
Flag
dwarf right now in
captured.
the east.
Yeah, he's pushing.
I don't think anything happens right there, but that's the dwarfing stuff I'm talking about. Like, why do you have all that melee if you're just gonna put your dwarf 1,000 feet in front of melee?
Yeah, he's very
Like an easy
exposed.
plus
Like that
target.
dwarf could be picked off. If like I chose to come back around,
Flag
I didn't notice that
contested.
Adren pushed that far forward.
Flag
I probably
captured.
could another play I could have made was a
Flag
double back and
contested.
surround that.
Flag
Yep.
lost.
So the push is starting to happen in the west.
Yep. So Rawr
Flag
wastes
lost.
his big pus here. That was huge for
Flag
me.
contested.
I was like,
Nothing.
oh, I was like, shit. Like that was really big. I was like, damn. Now I can get more aggressive because now I don't have to worry about that pus. Now he's got
Like
another.
pussing,
We got another.
you can only
coming.
pus if you're actually going to follow up with like a dwarf shot or something.
Yeah, he had no follow up there. Even if he had gotten a better hit on it, like it was gonna be hard for him to finish it. It was a really poor pus. At this point, I see they reinforced with Clank, and I know that Ratking's gonna try and make a move with a Thrall. So I realize what's happening here, and I'm like, okay, I need to back out. I think I'm calling for Paris is not moving yet.
Even the way he moved the thrall out of the water is just wrong. He should be moving towards the flag to try and cut off your.
5
Yes,
minutes
yeah,
remaining.
you're right. Yeah, because
Flag
I'm gonna run
lost.
way behind, right around.
Yeah,
him
he
too
he
easily.
could have gone the other direction and made it
Yeah.
much more
Contested.
difficult.
He's trying to fix it now. Now he's trying to go back more, but yeah. So at this point, like I'm just trying to get out of this situation. It was a little bit of a dicey situation for me.
Paris
not
is
gonna lie.
running to your aid.
Okay,
now.
good. Yeah, no, I was calling for Paris's help. I think.
Okay, and
Okay,
if you look in
again,
the west,
terrible
Myrk just
pus.
got pussed. If you look in the
Flag
west, Myrk
contested.
just got pussed.
Yep, Myrk. Yeah, okay, he did get pussed. All right, I'm about to have a big bottle pus in the southeast. Did
at it.
they have follow up on his dwarf though?
Yeah, they had another puss behind it too.
There was my big bottle pus in the
Flag
southeast.
contested.
That was huge. That swung
Flag
that fight.
lost.
Yep.
TB
yep.
still has those 4 pus, dude. It was sitting right next to the dwarf when he got pussed, and he.
This is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that could have.
Yeah,
into
so some feedback for Ratking is like even when you're getting the trades right, the squad distributions, especially on these light maps, maybe the squads were okay on the tro maps, but the light maps have been terrible.
I'm just gonna say that I don't like the choice to have like Clank and Rawr like chase you into the corner to begin with. I don't even like that call. Like, it's
Yeah, even if they didn't clump really bad for me, I was just gonna run to Paris. Oh, you know what? I just saw TB had a bottle pus. He didn't have 4 pus,
okay.
but he fucked
Good
it
to
up. He fucked up the bottle pus. He threw the pus first and the bottles after. So
The squad would at least make sense now.
yeah, it makes more
Yeah,
sense.
it does.
Alright.
Flag lost.
I think that makes more sense now why Myrk's dwarf didn't die to a second follow-up pus because TB didn't
Yeah.
he didn't
Flag
have it.
lost.
He didn't want to spend his whole bottle pus on just for the dwarf.
Flag contested.
Yeah, I just think Rat's team's executions here was wrong. Not like right now,
Flag
just in general. They
captured.
should have shifted everything from the west
Flag
side once they saw
captured.
all your thrall up there in the dwarf towards the east.
Yeah,
Also-
I agree.
That is the whole point.
Adren never really got in the fight. He just kind of like hung out
Flag
mid while everything
captured.
else was happening on the flanks and.
Yeah, that's the
Flag
other thing is like
lost.
when their team is out of sync. Like only part of their team is in the fight, and then other parts are out of the fight. Like
Flag.
I always
captured.
describe to people that like
Flag contested.
these large 2-team myth games, they're like a row team. Everybody's got a row, i.e., push at the same time. Like everybody should be engaged at the same time. And you'll see a big difference between top
Flag
teams
lost.
and lesser teams is that. Like the top teams, they all communicate and push at the exact same time, and it's a much stronger push. It's like row,
Flag
row,
captured.
push. You synchronize the pushes all together. It ends up opening up a
Flag
lot of
contested.
cracks that
Flag
get exploited,
captured.
right, in the opposing team.
From my perspective right now,
lost.
it just doesn't look like there's almost any shot calling happening
Flag
on Z Snake. It
contested.
kind of just looks like line up and try and
I
take.
agree.
Yeah,
And doesn't look like there's
and,
like
you, and you
almost
can
like
see we're coordinating a
adjust-
very good surround on Adren here. He's going to get picked off very cleanly.
Croc had a really good bottle plus there on Monty. Completely collapses the west.
Flag lost. Flag
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
it doesn't seem like there's much communication because like, and it's not even like a Dren's fault or anything, but he was just like out of the
Flag
fight and he has like one of the
captured.
Heron healers and it could have just been a whole different story if he were like
Yeah.
in one of these fights happening on the flanks instead of just kind of like hanging out and making sure that middle
Flag
is held.
lost.
Because at that point, middle being held like doesn't matter. You guys don't even have anything there anymore. You know.
Yeah, it seems like most of the Z snakes,
Flag
they're
captured.
not like
Flag
individual
contested.
micro. Like there's some of that, but more of it's just
1
like
minute remaining.
what you're saying, right? Everyone's on the same page.
Oh, one warrior is gonna pick off that door. Oh no, still
Flag
alive.
contested.
Okay, maybe the
Flag
door's still alive.
lost. Flag lost.
So yeah, that dwarf got some good hits, and now it's gonna get picked off.
Yeah.
That dwarf could have been defended even a little bit better there at the end, to be honest, but
Flag lost.
it definitely got its fucking value. Like, got plenty of
Absolutely.
hits in.
Flag
Yep.
Got a
contested.
good game.
30 seconds remaining.
But it felt to me
Flag
when I was watching
captured.
this game like this game swung
Flag
when
contested.
they tried to pin you down
Flag
in the
contested.
southeast
Yep.
and got bottle pussed instead and like lost 2 entire squads. And from that point, it just felt like they were desperate because I think they were down about 20%
Flag
at that point
lost.
with no real way back in the
Flag
game.
lost.
With, you know, so many thralls
Flag
sunk and not even in the
lost.
fight. So it's just they were technically probably down even more percent than that.
I want to
Since the
point
flag
out too that even if I didn't
Flag
get that, I
contested.
kind of mentioned it before, but even if
Flag
I didn't
lost.
get that fucking bottle puss,
Sudden
that
death.
quote unquote saved me.
Flag
Like, my play
captured.
was to just keep running back to Paris, and then once I regrouped with Paris, I still think we were gonna kill that shit. You know what I mean?
Flag.
Because we had
Oh,
we had
I
a
think-
superior melee force. We had Stigs mixed with the warriors and more
Well,
bottle
not-
puss.
Game.
Not even just that. I think you guys had a Heron. I don't know if they had any.
And a Huron, yeah, exactly.
In addition, I'd probably take you in Paris over Rawr and Clank
yeah,
or Melee.
exactly, yeah, for sure.
But there was a play there for a second where it looked like they could have like done something, but it all hinged on really those thrall trying to like cut you off properly, and they didn't. But
Yep.
I'm not even sure if that would have even mattered.
Yep. He didn't have enough thrall really either, was the other thing. So the other thing I would say to Rat on this is like he tried to put thrall in like 6 different places or something crazy like that. It's just too much. You know what I mean? Like I would do 3 at most. And that's it.
It felt like the strategy was confused, you know, because I
Yeah.
couldn't tell like what the actual goal with the sunk thrall was other than to tag at endgame, but they were trying to take like aggressive fights on you, and you would normally sink thrall to like play for endgame and not like take aggressive fights early necessarily. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like confused on what the point of like the thrall or even like what they were doing in the strategy, really.
The reason you don't split the thrall up that much is because you don't need them split up that like he's like splitting them out like 6 ways to get ready for the end game
Tagging.
tag. Right.
That's
like,
what I mean.
But like it's premature. Like because if there's some BC fight that's gonna happen, you're gonna want those thrall are like they're like fallback points for the rest of your team, right? And if they're being used as a fallback point, you want them to be beefier. Like I need those thrall to be strong enough of a force to be able to like flank, like surround a force from behind or something like that. 5 thrall isn't going to cut it. 5 thrall are just they're going to get fucking chopped down as easy vets for the opposing team. You know what I mean? Like that.
And yeah.
You don't split them up 6 ways until like the last minute or 2 of the game or something like that. At
Yeah,
most.
that's kind of a reactionary thing, like to do that, right? Like if the game seems to be going that way and it looks like it's going to be a long game that goes to the end of the timer, you start to distribute them that way.
Yeah.
To do it at the beginning of the game is basically like setting yourself up to be like, it seems like the strategy in that regard would be to be passive all game long and hope for the end game to come so you can bring your thrall out and still have the rest of your units alive, which just kind of puts you on the back foot all game. That's what it kind of looks like to me. But again, it looked like it was a confused strategy because it didn't seem like the thrall had a real purpose other than, again, tag for end game. But all the skirmishes were lost. I mean, it was a 50% win for you guys.
He had 5 or 6 thrall in that far southeast water, and then he had like 5 or 6 in another water just like north of it. If he had all those thrall together in one spot, which I think he actually originally did, that water a little bit north of the southeast had, I think, in the beginning a big thrall pack went there. I don't remember if he like split it up or what later, but if he had just had a bigger thrall pack with him in the southeast when they were trying to set up that pinch on me, it would have been a lot deadlier for me. A lot deadlier, and it might have swung the fight the other way potentially.
Yep. But yeah, I also want to point out this was seemingly the first map where you really took like heavy hitter, if you will, units, and
Yeah.
you carried your team pretty hard statistically in this game. Not necessarily by gameplay, but like statistically, yeah, 27 and 10 with 45 damage. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I had a good game there. I I was really excited by that battle bus. Like, almost had like a fucking orgasm mid game at that battle bus. Like, oh my god! I was like, oh my god! I just hit because I killed like fucking 8 melee with that thing. I was like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, again, this just kind of felt like, as we talked about, your team was in total concert with one another, and their team just seemed to be kind of just like waiting around looking for an opening to like do something, and they thought the opening was chasing you into the corner, and that actually kind of swung the game in your favor.
Yeah, that's why I was so like ecstatic with that battle plus too, because as soon as it happened, I was like, okay, that might have won the fucking game right there. So
Yep.
it just totally opened it up. Yeah. All right, I'm in the next game here. I think we both get pretty much the same trade too. Very similar. We do 1 dwarf, they do 2. But hey, props to Rat. I like his trade so far. Like, this is what, game 4? Or no, it's tied 2-2. This is game 5. So the first 5 games, I actually was okay with Rat's trades rather. And strats. The squad distributions is the bigger issue for him.
Yeah,
really got to work on those squad distributions.
That's the Achilles heel I'm seeing so far in the match.
Yeah.
Happens again this game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think
He's
it's
got
more
warriors
than
with the
it's more than the
dwarf, with
squads in this
Rawr.
game. This
He's
is just
got-
straight up shot calling in this game from my memory.
Yeah, I mean, I was just referring to trades, but yeah, his trades have been good. The split's awkward.
Yeah.
So
Again,
what
this might
are
be
you
the
seeing with the
awkward split.
distributions here, Asmo, for Rat?
Well, he's got Clank. He's putting like a few thrall with the warriors and dwarfs with warriors as
Game
well.
on.
Like, look at the thrall distribution.
Oh yeah. It's so
Super
chopped
awkward,
up.
like,
It's like
what
yeah,
do
it's
you even
all
do with
chopped
that?
up, and it's like mixed melee. You never want to like be mixing like warrior like. Okay, we did mix a little bit of thrall with warriors. I think it was Kirk and LSO do have a few warriors with their thrall, but still, like, if you look at the way our thrall and warriors are split compared to theirs, it's a lot less chopped up, right? It's like why 2 thrall? Like, TB's got a war pack plus 2 thrall. Like, why? Like, the 2 thrall are just gonna tie him down. Like, just hand those thrall over to someone else who already has thrall. You know what I mean? Like, Rawr has 4 thrall, TB has 2 thrall. There's no need for it. Just hand those thrall off to one of the other thrallers. Otherwise, you don't want to be mixing melee units with very different movement speeds like that. It's just awkward.
One thing I thought that was strange is, like, I get there's different unit sets that are more powerful on some maps or another, but like, if you hit F7, like, TB has 13%,
13, yeah.
Hal has 10%, Monty has 9%. Like, those
Yeah,
numbers
let's look at this.
really
So
change
TV's got the
somehow.
freaking dwarf squad. What is Thal? So to be fair, Thal has a Zerg squad, but again, it's only half the Zergs. You'll notice a difference with our distribution. So our plan here is I can just explain our strat. Like, we have Myrk, who has like a light Zerg pack, 4 Zergs and a few goals, and it's his job. Like, you see a lot of times on this map to go like really heavy north. If this was like the dark unit set, that's usually the trade I get, or the strat I do. But on this, I didn't want to overcommit to that north, and so we have just like light, again, similar to the Belly of the Beast, where Myrk's basically got a light melee force that's just meant to go up there, contest, scout, kind of fall back and keep our backfield clear, and just kind of like match up with what's likely to be a larger force that he'll be matched up against, and just keep it out of the fight. And that just buys us time to BC fight elsewhere, which is what we're going for here. You'll see that they end up sending both their Zerg packs to that north, and granted they make adjustments, but I feel like their Zergs really didn't do much in that regard. And we're looking to do like our traditional archer, thrall, melee push, middle, and just a little bit south of middle, like because we got 2 archer thrall packs. So, and you'll see my Zerg squad go wider around the southwest. So that's the general idea here. Although their trade is very similar, distributions are very awkward. This is again why like we did get 1 dwarf here. We'll see if that dwarf was effective or not. But I just feel like the second dwarf is not necessary. Like,
Well, there is a big difference in the trades, especially for King of the Map. You guys
What's that?
max goals, they barely got any goals.
Oh shit! That's
King
a
of the Map.
huge miss. Yeah, that's a
So
huge
something
miss.
else, just with the distribution, there's some really wonky stuff going on for Z-Snake. So it looks like TB has a dwarf, a J-Man, Puss, Warriors, and
That's what
Thrall.
I'm saying, dude.
Oh
It's
my
pretty-
god,
it's
that's
pretty
so
wacky.
awkward, especially for TV.
So-
like your weaker players, you need to make the squads as simple and small as possible. So yeah,
In addition to that, it feels like they got 2 J-Men, so I mean, you would think that the J-Men's purpose is either to hang with the Zerg packs and heal them, or hang with the archers and heal them, but neither of those receive the J-Men, so the J-Men are just kind of like
right.
cobbled into like small warrior packs. So that's just like really strange.
And just to add to your point, Limp, like this is the other thing too. You gotta like be mindful of like what communication issues are you creating if the archers don't have the journeyman. Now they need to call for heals
Yes,
from the
that's what I
journeyman,
mean.
which now is added effort and friction for your team, right? Like he's thinking, I guess, that you want the dwarf to have access to heals, but that's not correct, really. It's the Zerks and the archers that need the heals. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, super
But
awkward.
yeah, so it is very awkward, and I think Asmo's totally right in calling out the lack of goals.
Dude,
Goals
I did
are-
not notice the lack of goals. So he's missing 3 goals. It looks, is that right? 3? No.
Feels like more than that.
more.
Feels like-
More.
6,
Like
I think.
double.
Maybe.
It's 16 max. So he got 9. He's missing 7. Oh, that's a huge
That's a
miss.
lot for King of the Map, especially.
Goals like okay, Zerks are the heavy hitting unit on this, but like still goals super strong on this for especially King of the Map, and this is a otherwise pretty light unit set besides the Zerks. Like you want all those goals. Think about this. Like fucking you got 3 whites. He's only traded for 9 goals. 6 of those goals are big pus. He's only got 3 goals for small pus, but there is 6 more small pus available that he did not make use of. Small pus is a big freaking deal. And actually, that's the kind of squad I would give TB. I would give him literally like 3 or 4 goals and just tell him, I want you to get nothing but small pus, and I want you to just point blank small pus shit that can be killed, that has other shit near it to kill it. And just do that. Like it's a very easy but also important freaking job. And you see that that's kind of what we do. We have Killerking, I think it is. Killerking is our dedicated goal pack on this, and he actually does a pretty decent job. And that's what we call out our goal packs. They always grab small pus. Always. It's really important. All right, you guys ready to start this one?
Yes.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. So they're sending all their Zergs north. So they'll get control of north, but then they're going to have to make adjustments. And what I just don't like about that is, think about that. Their Zergs are now bottled up in a bunch of chokes. Like, the Zergs can't roam fully freely to, like, get good surrounds and shit. And that's why I wanted more of our Zergs in the southwest.
Flag captured.
I'm looking to set up, like, get a really wide flank and, like, just get almost like behind
Flag
and get
captured.
like a good surround on something in their south, and then win that fight, and then basically collapse their whole team starting from the south, which is effectively what happens, as we'll soon see.
I thought both plans are
Flag
viable. I'm not
captured.
sure why they sent Rawr
Flag
north, so I don't
captured.
understand what his purpose
Yeah, he's got the
is.
Flag
dwarf up there. Yeah, it's
captured.
even heavier north with the freaking war and dwarf squad. It's just too heavy of a north. It's just too heavy.
And if you're going to go all your
Flag
Zerks north to
captured.
control that, your
Flag
team
contested.
needs to make an emphasis with the
Flag
strat
captured.
that middle flag. Your team needs to
Flag
be pushing up to
captured.
that early, and like creating a path that the Zerks can leak out once you set it up where you want to in the north.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I've never played this map, but just from looking at it,
Flag
I wouldn't
captured.
send much to the northeast just because it's like so isolated. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think sending all the Zerks there just kind of like neutralizes their worth.
On the dark mesh, the strat
Flag
has been like
captured.
to go very
Flag
heavy north. The
contested.
thinking there is like you just
Flag lost.
you have like locks and morts. And you
Flag
can use a single
contested.
RD piece, like usually like a mort.
Flag
So
captured.
like once you get control of it, you can just leave a small force with the mort to just lock it down completely, and then shift the rest of the melee to the other sides of the map. But that doesn't really apply here. So
Honestly, I think they played it pretty well in the north, though. Honestly, more than
Flag
he's like Monty
captured.
here. I don't know what he's doing. Like they created the leak for him to get out. He's just like floating around doing nothing when you have a uncontested Zerk pass in the south.
I agree.
don't like
They adjusted well, but you notice Rawr is still out of the fight completely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
completely
mean,
out of
sending
the fight.
Rawr was a waste. I don't
He should
understand.
not be going that
unit
direction.
setup there.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I think that Thal already has enough versus Myrk to like not have Rawr like
Yeah,
follow
Rawr's
him.
totally
Just-
out of the game right now. With
He finally turns around,
40%.
but yeah, he's totally out of it.
Big fight in the Southwest is about to happen. This is where, like, again, like
They're overextended.
my Zerk pack is like a Tro. Like, I have the power melee unit here, and
Oof.
they can't defend that strong of a Zerk pack like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, Clank and TB were just wildly overextended
Flag
versus that Zerk
contested.
pack that they saw. There was no
Yeah.
reason to, like, as soon as they saw that, they should have like probably retreated almost like behind the village and called for Zerks to come and help
Yeah.
and mirror that.
Create a checkpoint.
I did see Killerking throw like 3 bad small puss, but he did get one good one there, and
Flag contested.
another good one there,
Flag.
I mean,
and
the
another
game's
good one
almost-
there. So
Is almost already over. I mean,
yeah.
those guys just
We're up
overextended
almost
and
20%. Yeah.
killed nothing, and
Flag lost.
Myrk's doing a
pretty
great job
far.
just kind of keeping this
Kiting.
Zerk pack out of the fight. Like, it's a slightly bigger Zerk pack, so we have a Zerk advantage elsewhere. That's great. Ratking, like, again, I don't know what he was doing either. Like, he had a back. He's been out of the fight for a while, too. We got a really clean engagement on that south without them being able to counter anywhere else. You know what I mean? Because they had, like, Rawr and Ratking kind of out of the fight almost this entire game so far.
completely. I mean, Rawr is on an island right now, and
Yeah.
Rawr and Ratking
They're-
were both on islands. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is their team just looks out of sync.
Flag
Their
Yeah.
trades are like pretty good. Like there's some mistakes, but they're like pretty good. And,
It looks like a
their
team
initial
with the-
direction is not horrible for most of the times. They're just out of sync, like with connecting things together when fights break out.
They just don't look like
Flag
they have any
contested.
direction. It looks like literally just trade, go here, fight.
Yeah, it
doesn't
seems
look
that
like
way to be
there's-
honest.
There's
Flag
much more
lost.
more to it than that. Because I mean, I would have been screaming at Clank and TB personally if I were captain to like retreat. You know, you
As
can't
soon
fight
as you
versus
see those
that.
Zerks for sure.
Yeah, retreat. Just get out of there. There's nothing.
Roar's dwarf just got picked off. Like, again, Rawr was by himself. Like, there's no support. Like, that's not how you use a dwarf squad. It's like a total misunderstanding of how to use a dwarf squad. Why would you flank the dwarf up with melee like that? The dwarf should be with the archers. That way the archers protect the dwarf protects the archers. Like, that's the synergy. You don't just throw a dwarf squad up by itself with nothing but
Flag
melee.
contested.
I mean, that squad in the southwest just completely dominated this game. With like, it just literally just kept running through squads of units without any support to it. It was really strange.
Flag
Really good bust
captured.
there by Spoon.
Yeah, I called that out too because I was harping on Spoons buzzing the last match. So I was like, great puss. That's what we need more of.
Yeah, this one's a beat down.
And meanwhile, And then Myrk has been able to kite Thal, who's one of the strongest.
And then
players in
Myrk
the
ends
team.
up getting the kill on Thal here too. Myrk ends up getting his nice little one-on-one. Like, him and Thal have been, like, just staring at each other all fucking game.
Yeah.
Flag
And finally
captured.
they get their little one-on-one battle.
Flag captured.
To be fair, that was
Flag
some...
lost.
Oh, that last puss by Thal was bad,
Lost.
actually. So, Thal had a one puss advantage there, actually, but he bungled it. And Myrk did a better job on the melee engagement there. Yeah, that was actually a really good clean kill
Flag
by Myrk.
lost.
He kept all his fucking Zergs alive.
Flag
Jesus Christ.
captured.
They'll
Flag
need to
lost.
not go for the Hail Mary puss
Flag
and just play
Yeah,
a little
those
slower.
Hail Mary passes, they never work out, man. And I know why he did it. He did it because
Flag
the goal was a
contested.
little too far out. And, like, he
Yeah,
needed
there
it
you go.
quicker. But, yeah.
I bet the fact that he was the only player left alive probably factored in a little bit too.
Yeah. It didn't really matter. The game's over, but...
Yeah.
Flag lost.
All right, I'm going to speed through the rest of this.
Yeah, that was
Flag contested.
that was a stomping, I would say. Yeah, you got
Flag
36
lost.
kills and 2 losses. They just
Yeah.
continually let your Zerks just roll over everything.
Yeah, I was saying it after the game to my guys. I was like, damn, I'm going to have such fucking crazy damage this game. 36 kills? That's more kills than their entire team combined. It's just, like, nuts.
Yeah, I like that distribution, giving more, like, not just splitting the Zerks evenly. It made sense to give, like, a really strong Zerk force in one area. And it just so happens that's where they had absolutely no Zerks.
No defense against those Zerks. Yeah, like
Nothing.
That's why I was saying, like, you know, like Asmo, you're saying, like, okay, like some games, like, I quote unquote like broke open the game, but on this one, like, it was just a mismatch. Like, they just had nothing to defend that Zerk pack. Like they were just gonna get boned almost no matter what. You know what I mean?
This is also kind of what I meant about, like, they sent all their Zerks to the most isolated area of the map.
Yeah.
Big map. They had no way to, like, come and support that.
They just couldn't get in the
What
fight.
happened.
They couldn't get in the fight, and my
Exactly.
Zerks were able to get in the fight. Big difference right there. Yeah. Yeah. All right, next one. Myopia. Oh, there's some mistakes to call out on this one.
Oh yeah, this one was something else. Something else.
This is where the Ratking trades start going bad, I would say. I think he did fine the first 5. I think our trade... I'll point out why the game was closer than it should have been. I do think our trade, like, normally crushes on this. It definitely did not on this, as we'll soon see. But he gets sold. Now, granted, he didn't go overboard with the souls, but he also got the locks too. You know, I see this as kind of like a Desert Ruins, and it's Desert Ruins without any dwarfs. Like, if there was morts on this, I would have got a couple morts with it, you know. But with locks, like, when I see locks, I'm just like, I'll block those locks all fucking day, and it'll take them half the game to try and get their damage worth, you know.
Just the map too. Look how big it is.
Yeah,
Look how spread out
exactly.
the flags are.
So this map, this was another one of my 2020 MWC 2020 conversions. This is
Nice.
probably the one I might have been most happy with. I got, like, the entire community involved for the making of it, so the guy went through a bunch of revisions until, like, the community at large was, like, happy with it. But looking at the trades, I don't like what Ratking decided to trade for. I think that's just the
just like-
Soulless. Don't like Soulless on this. I don't like that many Warlocks. It's flag rally. It just doesn't appeal to me very much. That being said, I don't think Stigs are particularly strong here either, but if you're maxing out melee, you got to get them.
Yeah, like what Asmo was saying, the flags are so spread out, and it's a big map. Again, it just reminds me of Desert Ruins, where it's just like, Victory Imminent is huge, and it's really easy to get tagged out. And whenever you're in situations like that, where, like, the tagging is just gonna be so dominant, like, you need as much meat as possible to slow them down from tagging you out, which means you need as much melee as possible. Like, the game is gonna end, like, even if they try to like line up and BC fight us, what ends up happening is you're able to just counter it because the map is so big. You can just shift your melee, your faster melee, to one side of the map and surround and pick off their arty. Like that's what ends up happening, right? You're able to like focus down one part of the map with heavier, faster force that they won't be able to keep up with, and then they might be forced also to push into your slow units with your whatever extra meat you have with slow melee, which is just going to get that value out of that melee, and that's what ends up happening. Now it didn't play out that way in this. I'll point out why, but you got LSO and I on FGing. Kirk's got a Zerk pack, Paris got a Zerk pack, Myrk got a Zerk pack. Okay, and basically our general idea is we're doing a big jugger rush to the east because that's the far side, and we're just tagging our near side. And we really want to just like get victory imminent as fast as possible and then pin them to their last flag where we can either surround and rush it down or run the timer out and win that way, either way.
It looks kind of crucial for you guys for what they'd traded for, or just your strategy in general, to use individual melee units one by one to block lock shots.
Yeah, we have to block lock shots for sure. But there's plenty.
FG just get melted by locks.
Yeah. Well, even the FG at max range can juke the lock shots. You know what I mean? Like, It's easy to kind of juke them or dodge them a little bit. Even sometimes at close range you can do it. It's not terrible, but like the danger of our strategy, and this is something we discussed in our strat session, was we have a lot of slow melee, which originally was meant to be like all flag defense, but then I was like, okay, well if they just ignore their offense and go full defense with their force, then we're in trouble because we have too much stuff sitting on flag D, and that's when their arty actually might be able to overwhelm our melee rush, because if we just have so much sitting out and they have max Zerks, FG, and plus a bunch of locks and souls, like, yeah, we're not going to be able to rush that down. So the idea here, or what we were supposed to do, was we were supposed to have a dedicated Thrall elite squad also on offense going east on the same offense. And the Thrall elite, yeah, they're slow, but they're a little bit faster than Thrall. And if our east got hung up on like them going all D, like at least we could just wait for the Thrall, and then that would open things up, I think, quite a bit for us. The Thrall are nice for like eating the lock shots, and kind of like just creating like they're nice meat to like have your FG and Zerks and stuff hide behind. It's kind of like it's kind of like having melee support with your Tro. They provide the melee support for the FG and the other melee, right? By just like eating the shots in the front. So we're gonna end up setting up big rush in the east, but our FG are gonna jugger the mid to start with, before we try to set up that offense. We end up fucking up the strategy by we did not do the 15 Thrall on offense squad. It was discussed. Also forgot to write it down, and so he forgot about it. He was also distracted with some friends at his house. I'm just gonna give all LSO's excuses out there. So like, yeah, we didn't exactly put full prep into this as we did against Asmo's team for the top bracket finals. So this was a little sloppy on our part, but I really just think they mistraded this, but they did make it a lot closer than it should have been because we kind of fucked up our execution. So
I would argue that it's still the distribution is the issue. I'm looking at Ratking with nearly 25% with Thrall Elite, Ghasts.
Oh
Wolves,
yeah. Oh
Whites,
god. Yeah. So
and Forest Giant. So that's just like he's basically heavy hitting and also taking flag D from my eye, just from unit distribution.
Yeah, and this is the problem with getting 5 fucking locks and souls. Like he has to figure out a way to distribute these units better, because the FGer, who's also the captain, who's also struggling to heavy hit and captain at the same time, cannot also be doing all the fucking flag D. It's terrible. Like you see us, we hand Killerking is our dedicated flag D. None of our FG guys got that shit. So that you're gonna see that ends up being a huge mistake that they pay for later in this game. So.
Also, I'd like to point out too that this is kind of like a very make or break game. They either are eliminated from the tournament or they continue on to Game 7 for Z Snake. MIT is using you, GKG, and LSO, your two strongest players on FG, most important unit on this map. And Z Snake is using Ratking and Monty. I think in this situation, you want to probably put like Thal and Adren on your FG for this.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
So I just
Not-
I feel like
yeah.
this distribution is just very poor, honestly.
Totally agree.
Adrenaline's had a good series outside of Primordial Soup. I'd say he would be the standout player from their team.
Yeah,
up to
I
this
agree.
Yeah,
point.
I would agree for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I would put him on FG. I don't know if he loves FG, but I think this is a situation where you have to trust his ability and just force him into the role. you know?
Exactly. Knowing Adrenaline, I guarantee you, he said he wanted the souls and he wanted that pack, but it doesn't matter. Your tournament's
Oh,
on the line,
that's
right?
such an awful. Like, why? Oh my god. He wanted the souls on this. That's literally the worst squad to have.
He did that last year on my team, so that's why I figured literally any map that wanted souls, you want to be on the soul squad. But
That's
your
terrible.
the tournament's on the line. There's an FG,
Yeah.
and you put Adrenaline on an FG based on how he's performed this match.
Like Solus would be, I would put TB on Souls if I even bought Souls.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't like
Exactly.
him here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge
So,
miss.
I don't
I also
know.
want to point out, like, again, their Zerk squads are awkward too. Like, why? If I was gonna get locks on this, it would be lock Thrall elite squads, not lock Zerk squads. I would have dedicated Zerk plus squads, not tied down to locks. You know what I mean?
Yep, again, you got your fast units tied to this
Yeah,
anchor on the
it's
back.
awful.
Happen again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is very awkward squads and role assignments, for sure.
Yeah, for anyone watching or who watches this, match up your unit speeds. Like it's almost there's exceptions to the rule, but most of the time, just if you don't know what you're doing, match up your unit speeds. Doors with Thrall, archers with
Fairly
Thrall,
crucial.
Yep.
Golds with fast melee, yeah, stuff like that.
All right, you guys ready to start it?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this all plays out. I was only watching one portion of the map when I originally watched this, but based on trades, I feel like you should stop on this game. So I'm not sure why it ended up being so close.
It's because of what I said. We have too much on flag D, Asmo. Like, look at our flag D.
Flag
It's way
capture.
too much.
Yeah.
That's got to be
Flag
like, what, like
captured.
20%?
Yeah, like killer.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
20%.
21% on flag D. Like that's, and I knew that was a concern, and we had talked about it in the strat session. I literally didn't
captured.
notice that LSO didn't
Flag
do it.
captured.
Like I would have called it out
Flag
if I had
captured.
noticed, and he didn't write it down, so he forgot. So we
Flag
just like flew
captured.
by both of us basically. But Killerking, either he was going to do it himself or somebody else.
Flag
have like
captured.
15 Thrall, and it could have honestly been even more probably, with that offense. What I would have liked to have seen here too is you see what Kirk is doing. He had the opportunity, Kirk, to go straight into their backfield. Like he could go through that water crossing. He might have taken a little bit of lock damage, but he could have gone straight into that backfield and get a full surround.
Oof.
Yeah, this isn't the best rush. I would have liked the Stigs to go in first, and actually the Stigs eat the lock shots, not the Zerks. I'm not sure why they did it that way. I'm not sure why the
Flag
Zerks guys
captured.
went in before the Stigs. The Stigs are also slower, so you want the Stigs to go in
Flag
first.
captured.
This rush is
That's a really bad rush,
captured.
actually. Yeah, that's a really bad rush. I agree.
It's all in pieces, and there's a bunch of like lock hits that are just
Yeah,
pretty direct.
and this is maybe part of the problem with having both LSO and I on FG is like neither of us is coordinating that rush a bit better.
And right
See,
now,
right here, those
yeah.
2 FG on Ratking's team should absolutely rush that melee pack. There's not a single goal with that melee
Yeah,
pack. So you
yeah,
can
you're
really
right.
go slap it
You're
like
right.
Rat.
Monty's there. Let's see what
Ratking's-
Monty
here's the thing,
does.
so
Exactly. Monty did the right
Ratking
thing.
could've-
Rat should follow up
Yeah.
on that.
Rat should
Yeah.
be with Monty killing all
Yeah,
that
you're
melee.
right.
And
You're
if you
totally
look,
right.
And if you look, I just want to draw everyone's attention away to their home flag. Ratking didn't
Oh
lose
my
any
God,
of
yeah.
his all his
Victory imminent.
all his defense for home flag, is
Flag
still just sitting like
captured.
not
Yeah.
on the flag.
Not on the flag, D. It's not on any flag. That's awful, dude. That's
Rat
absolutely awful.
Rat needs to take a step back, man. He needs
Yeah,
to
that's
captain and backseat, or just be a player and try to heavy hit if that's what you want to do. Don't
yeah,
try to do
yeah.
it
This is
anymore.
an inexcusable mistake. Absolutely. For a bottom bracket finals, that's
Yeah,
awful.
it's the closing game, right?
Yeah.
Whoever they lose, they're out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
you're
it's-
right. Their FGing could have been all over that melee. Now Myrk did get a puss over there. I think it was a small puss though, but it wasn't until
Flag
later.
captured.
It wasn't
Look,
till
they
later.
had-
If they
Victory
would have
imminent.
beelined it straight to
They
it, it
could
would've
have
been over
definitely
that entire
wrecked
huge
havoc,
pack.
and that's why that rush wasn't super effective. Also, you saw Kirk waste his puss on a lock, and it didn't actually kill it. That puss should have been saved for FG defense. That was actually a bad decision.
And look
for
at
puss.
Ratking just microing nothing over here while the
Yeah.
flag's about to be taken
Yeah,
while
yeah.
the melee is just
They-
sitting mid. This is
They had
this
they
is
had zero-
wild.
Dude, they had 0 units on flag defense in flag rally. 0
Yeah,
units.
Yeah, you're
Not a
right.
single flag had a defensive unit.
You're
That's
right.
like stuff that
That's
people get
crazy.
booed out of Rabble games
Flag
for. You know, like
captured.
come on.
I actually was to that point. I was actually yelling at my guys like that we were in trouble because I thought right here we were gonna have a hard time tagging that last flag. But then everybody was like, "Chill out, GKG. We already fucking took it, man." And I'm like, oh shit! Like what? They didn't have their fucking flag D on the fucking flag. I didn't even notice that shit, dude.
Yeah, that
That was
I
like,
mean,
I was just like blew my mind.
I hate to be too critical, but that was just absolutely terrible. I mean, if you're gonna take the FG like that as captain, at least put your flag D on your flag. And
At least put your flag D on your flag.
in addition to that, if you're gonna take FG, you can't end up with 0 damage on a map where there are no like that. You pop 3 whites, but that's
No
just
big
not
buffs.
effective at all. To
Now-
me, that's the game right there.
To Adrenaline's credit, he did get 61 damage with those souls.
Yeah.
I don't know
Wow.
what the fuck he did with them.
I think he
but-
had a lock. He had to have had a lock too. Had
Okay.
to have.
Yeah. I think so too, because he got some damage with the souls. I'm not saying he didn't, but I definitely don't think it was 61 damage worth.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a good position where he had like separated.
Their
the two
locks
FP
definitely got a
teams.
lot of good damage because our
Yeah.
rush was so poor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this could have easily gone to Z Snake. Again, there was that situation where like the melee was completely separated with no pus, and the 2FG could have rushed it. I think that could have completely won the game. And
Like, that would've been
instead,
like a
Rat King just kind of wandered around and then eventually took like a fight that was poor and like lost half of his FG health while you guys ran and took an undefended flag. So just
It would have been
Not
like a
great.
15% flip in terms of percent. I think Z Snake would have been up 15%.
I think it would have been more than that, man. It was like all the Stigs and probably like 12 Zerks or so. I think it would have
The
been more
thing,
than
the
that.
thing is, yeah, initially, but the thing is, they're sacrificing their souls to make the play. But the thing is, the souls are gonna die, but they're still gonna do damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
definitely the play to make.
It's kind of embarrassing. Like, we basically fought them with only 80% of our army. We did a pretty shitty job of doing it and still won, right? Like,
Well, you got, well, at the very least, you did not forget to put units on flags. You got many of them on flags.
yeah.
I couldn't believe when I was watching it for a bottom bracket finals that there's just straight up an undefended flag rally team. Just yeah, that was hard
Kirk
to
should
watch.
not have spent that pus, that big pus. That was a big mistake. He needed that pus. You guys are right. Like the FG could have fucking mopped up that goddamn melee, because Kirk was the only one with a big pus defending that melee side. LSO and I were the only other two with big pus, but we were on the other side. All right, Paris had a big game. What the fuck did he have? He had a Zerk pack, I think. So maybe he did. He must have did decent with the rush anyway. It was Myrk and Kirk were our other two Zerk packs. They just ate a bunch of damage, I think. They didn't get much done.
Yeah, I think Harris had a really good bounce back series in this bottom
Yeah.
bracket file.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I'd say
definitely
Myrk
bounced
played
back.
pretty well too. This might be Myrk's
Game
best series that I've
over.
seen in the Smith World Cup.
Yep, I agree. Yep. All right, let's start the next one. Okay, there's several things. This was actually Ratking's worst trade. I think it was even worse than his Myopia trade. It's like he really. Oh my god! Just looking at this trade makes my eyes bleed. So, couple things. Actually, to be fair to Rat, LSO tried to get a trade like this too when we were doing strat session. But I immediately called it out. I see everybody make this mistake. Asmo, actually, is Limp back? Limp, you still there?
Here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm going to ask, before I give the answer, so
Did I miss a question?
I didn't ask it. I'm about to.
Okay.
Go to at least 230 PT so you can see Rat's trade, and let's let Limp go first. What is like the big mistake that you see in Rat's trade?
Well, Solus as usual and no malls.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see what else I'm seeing here.
No boss.
Wow.
Those are all
That's
valid
wild.
points, but anything else? There's one other thing I'm really looking for because I don't think nearly enough people see it on this.
He traded for locks and they just kill their own units usually on this map.
Anything else?
Like, I
Are you just
Off the
talking
top.
about like the difference in melee or what?
No, it's something very specific. Asmo, you don't see it? Anything else? I'm looking for a different answer. And
Are you talking about-
the reason I wanted to ask you guys is because I see so many people fuck this up on this map. And like I thought maybe one of you guys might have gotten it, honestly. Like, but
give me one more minute.
I swear I must be the only. I've been
harping.
I've been harping on this shit for 10 years about this map.
Oh,
Everybody
I
fucks
see
it up.
I see it. They maxed herons.
There you go. Asmo, did you
Yeah.
see that? No?
I didn't notice your trade that you guys didn't. What do you have? 2 herons?
3, I think.
I guess the herons are just weak relative to
Yeah,
other melee.
yeah.
You just
Yeah,
need
the
to
malls
have
the malls
health.
destroy them. The
The
Myrks
malls,
destroy them.
exactly. The fetch destroy them. Everything destroys the fucking Hurons. They're
Just, yeah, that makes
they're
sense.
glorified
You-
journeymen on this. They cost
Yeah,
you
8
just need
points.
3 so you can separate
You use them
out
for
from
heals.
the
That's
guys.
it. Yeah. Everybody fucking maxes them on this shit. Because they're like, oh, Huron geared heroes. You always max them on every fucking map, right? And then on this one, you can trade like 20 of them. But it's like, it's a huge fucking mistake I see people make. Huge.
No. Makes sense.
Got it.
And then, of course, the souls, too. So the way we really saw this was, this is like just a suicide rush for the targets. Because...
Yeah.
Especially
absolutely.
if they go too many Hurons and souls like they did, absolutely. Like as soon as I saw their trade, I was like, oh yeah, they're fucked. Like we can easily suicide rush. Now if they had gone definitely not max Hurons, but they still kept the souls, maybe we would have had more problems pushing. But like their trade, it's auto loss just on their trade alone at this point. So what ends up happening is like it's just too easy to suicide rush into their targets and they can't stop it.
It looks like you could virtually just click on their team and let it go.
Yeah, they can't stop the suicide rush. It reminds me a lot of Havergilmir Assassin, which has fetch assassin targets on Tro, the Tromesh. We played NC on that in 2011.
I remember
Bulls.
this.
Yeah. I think you were on NC that match, and
Yep.
that was this is exact same type of strategy. It was like, oh, we're just gonna max melee. We got like a couple morts maybe, and we're just going to go for a full surround on them. And we from that position, we can either run the timer out safely and go for a rush at the end of the game for a guaranteed winner tie, or if they're looking really easy to rush, we'll just rush them right off the bat. And yeah, it was like they could not stop the rush. They got killed immediately, and you're going to see the same thing happen here. Like, you can't... It's so tempting. You see the soul hills, and you're like, oh, let's get souls. But it's like, you can only BC fight with the souls if you can stop the suicide rush on your assassin targets. Like, if you can't stop the suicide rush, then the BC fighting with the souls doesn't matter. So
honestly, for that reason and a few others, I kind of despise this map. It's just like so boringly straightforward.
I mean, I like it because I always out-trade people on this. They always max the fucking Herons. It's like an easy win all the for time, me. Yeah,
like I don't like it though. It's a very, very boring map, and it's tiny. Not my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, also, there's a weird thing about this map. You won't see it here, but when the souls go close to the edge of the map, they will fall off the edge of the map.
Oh yeah, there's some issues.
Yeah.
But I like that you still traded for the Herons to match up with the Fetchers to heal them. I think that's
yep.
You know, necessary, but that makes sense because then you can actually micro it, and you still have 9 heals on it. You don't need, what is it, like 9 times 20 heals? It's just you're never gonna use all that. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Heron Guard heroes are glorified journeymen on this. That's it. They're just fast journeymen. You just use them for the heals. That's it.
Yep.
You guys ready to start this one?
Yep.
Oh shit, hang on. I'm not at 0 yet. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
So yeah, we're looking to like set up a very wide, we want to stretch them out as much as possible. So we're gonna go as wide as we can to try to set up our push.
Yeah, I just remember many times playing this map where the fetch almost like just not end up mattering because there's so much melee. You can just overwhelm them and then rush. Yeah.
The melee are so strong on this. I mean, there's so many Myrks and Mauls. Like, the fetch cannot stop all of that.
Yeah, that's strange.
And
no
pus even. Pus, like, the pus is nice to use against the enemy melee.
I think it's also nice just to like receive fetch hits so your melee can get in closer because, you know, they see the goals coming, the fetch are going to target that and give your melee more of an opening to get in closer too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as soon as I saw your trade right here,
oh fuck! I didn't realize, Asmo, you took units this fucking game.
Yeah, they gave me units this game because I guess people left. But as soon as I saw your stuff, I knew that we were screwed. I told them to push up the line of the map, or attempt to push you guys up as far as possible, because we're gonna get slut rushed and we're dead. And the more room we have to run, the little bit longer we can live. You know, if we just like corner us in the corner, it's like it's instantly over. It's like maybe we can have a miracle and fall back forever and kill you guys.
Yeah, that's 16 souls.
I just said it right there.
I did not realize that you were playing this game. You were unusually effective. I didn't do the greatest job. I would have liked to have kept one more fetch alive, pushing through your souls.
Oh wow, our West is just getting overwhelmed already, like instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Or mid, I guess.
Mid.
They like they're dead already.
Yeah, our mid is super strong. Kirk actually made a slight mistake. He did not need to push that north. He could have actually just held, because he was like up against a vastly superior force, so he needed to just hold that actually.
Yeah, just wait for your mid to clean up.
Yeah. That mid was actually where the biggest advantage was. Like, I got through in the south too. I had enough of an advantage in the south, but it was a little bit harder for me to get through.
Feels like the percent shouldn't be this close.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right. Oh, that was a beautiful double buzz.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's still close, huh?
Still close. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because Kirk died too cleanly in the north. That was why.
Yeah.
He needed to just hold that choke that he was at. Okay, now we're in a little bit of danger here. You see them going at our Brainor targets. So we were a little nervous here about, like, hey, are they going to kill our Brainor here? So they're going back on B, but we fully leaked into their targets. Now they have like basically a
Oh,
minute.
Rawr needs to rush your freaking Bruner. Why is he going for all those freaking targets right now?
Oh, yeah, he doesn't need to send that many Myrk on those targets. He could have sent one Huron. He could have sent one Huron on on those targets to just heal them. The dummies die to heals on this. So. Yeah, you're right. That's a big mistake. He could have he could have like threatened our Bravenor a lot more there for sure. I think we still had it.
I
can't believe just the percents being this close is
I agree. It should have been a lot cleaner. I think our north that north died way too easily. We were kind of calling like, hey, everybody push and like you're gonna slut rush. So I guess Kirk took that a little too literally. Like
it feels like
if you're matched up against like twice the units, you can just hold that. It's fine.
feels like the Brianor
Team
for Z-Snake should have like beelined it like far north west as soon as like they saw everything leaking in, but they just like ran back to the
you're
targets
right.
and
I don't know why they
no
stayed there
chance.
either. You're totally right. They should have ran to the northwest essentially to get behind the rest of their force, so they'd have some better defense. It would have taken us longer to get to them then. You're
Yes.
right. They made a mistake there for sure. Yeah. Who had those
The
fucking
game wasn't-
Brianor? I think Rawr. No, Monty or Thal had them. Or no, Rat. Rat might have had
Probably
them.
Rats.
almost
Probably
definitely
Rat.
Losses.
Yeah, probably Rat. Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this was a lot closer than it should have been. It was kind of sloppy execution from both teams. So
When I was watching the game, I didn't have access to F7, so I didn't really like know what was going on because Asmo was playing. So like I all of a sudden just saw it end, and I was like, oh, 40%. Seemed closer, and now watching it, it actually was much closer. But
yeah, I did not think it was that close until watching it just now. I was like, oh wow, that was.
yeah, honestly,
a lot
this
closer
could
than
have
I thought.
gone down almost to the end. Just you guys had like a single fetch advantage, 3-4.
Yeah.
So
Playing the
Yeah.
game. Playing the game, I was sort of shocked the game ended. Actually, it's like
yeah,
ended
you
out
had
of
a
nowhere.
pretty solid defense against GKG in the south. Honestly.
Yeah, your defense was a lot hairier than I anticipated for sure.
But yeah, I mean, summing things up, it just feels like I don't know. It as we talked about a lot of the match, it just seems like there was just not a lot of coordination with Ratking. I think his trades were a lot stronger than we normally see from him. Not as much of a reliance on like Soulless and kind of like shoehorning in units that don't really like suit a game type or a map type or so forth. So I give him credit for like trading a little bit better, but still felt like the distributions were like very
That's the weakest link. is the
just weak.
distributions.
Yeah, honestly, they just didn't make a lot of sense. They didn't put anyone almost in any beneficial situation to succeed, and it just felt like he stretched himself too thin on a bunch of maps, which has kind of been a hallmark of his captaining for a while, where he's just kind of taking too many units and kind of sacrificing them really, where he's not focusing in one place. And I give credit to him for constantly captaining, because as we've discussed, there's just so few people who even want to like take the mantle and doing it. So I give him a ton of credit for continuing to captain all these years. But yeah, I would like to see him sort of take a little bit more of another step with it for sure, because that myopia game left a really terrible taste in my mouth that I won't soon forget, honestly.
Yeah, not putting your flag D on the flag. That's like a one ball mistake. Honestly, it's that's unexcusable mistake. I'll point out. I think my team executed better than we did against Asmo's team in the top bracket finals, so I think some small improvement there. Obviously, we still need to fix several things. I was much happier with my team's pussing. That's come a long way. Yeah, like we need to do something about the tro maps. I will be troing in the finals. I've been putting in pretty solid matches for the most part. except for maybe like the first in the QR a little bit. I was still a little rusty, but I've been putting in a solid tournament so far, so I expect to take some bigger roles and probably the throwing. So we'll that should fix that, that kind of hole in our game, so to speak.
I feel like you guys definitely have some room to improve. This match really strong on the light maps. The dark maps were kind of hit or miss. Even this one was kind of hit or miss.
FG map too, even.
The execution, and
Myopia, this one, and Belly of the Beast and Sticks and Stones, you guys were all pretty. Either team could have won.
Seems like the light maps we do a lot better on. I don't know what it is, but like the light maps, our team is really fucking strong on the light maps for whatever.
I think a part of that is just you guys have such a well thought out strategy for light that you execute like over and over pretty much the same way. So there's you guys are experienced with it, and as you can see, most teams want to like resist copying that and trying to come up with something to like counter it when there really like isn't much of one. Like more dwarfs isn't going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like it's got to come from someplace else. You've either got to mirror it or you've got to like split up the distribution differently to try and take advantage of something in it. I don't think it's like trying to just like shoehorn dwarves in, or I don't know, but it just kind of feels like the execution on light is very like just well thought out for your team, and it felt like for Ratking's team it was more just like line up and try and react, which is very much of like coincidentally a very like Raziel type move like we talked about at the beginning of the pod, and it kind of reflects that. That's something that Raz and even NC would do at times, where we would just try and like react to the aggression instead of being the aggressor, and like on light maps that almost like always loses.
I will just point out, I think probably a good half of the mistakes that we made this match are largely attributed to we just didn't put in really hardly any preparation into it. I mean, we did strat for it, but it was, pretty minimal. Like we put in twice the effort against Asmo's team in the top bracket finals. Like I went through and did full strat write-ups myself, which I basically reserve that privilege for going against Asmo's team because it's just too much work. So I can only do it like maybe 2 matches in the tournament, right? So, I mean, we didn't actually we actually didn't even do dry runs as a team for this match, which again that's attributing to a lot of these mistakes too. So
I'd say about 3 of these maps were like very straightforward too, being like Sticks and Stones, Myopia, and this one were all like pretty straightforward with what your strategies were and what the maps ended up being.
Yeah, and just to repeat, I 100% fucked up game 1. That was totally my fucking bad. So that was awful. Like, whatever. I dropped 1 game. That's like that was my first bad game in a while. Like I've had like 3 or 4 like pretty solid matches, but that was like the 1 bad game that I've had in a while. So whatever.
Yeah, you picked it up after that. You picked it up after that.
Yeah.
I'd argue that Belly of the Beast wasn't great either, but you guys were still like in position to still win that game.
Right. Yeah, that was a close one. And like I died horribly on Belly of the Beast, but I kind of want to blame Myrk on that. We needed to coordinate. Like that's something that we would have covered in dry runs that we just didn't cover. You know what I mean? So like, there's some like mistakes like that where the execution is just off because we didn't actually go over it as a team. We really kind of winged it on this one, to be honest. So I
was definitely at the start of the match like very impressed with the fact that they had taken a lead on you guys, and I think it was 2-2 at one point, which I was pretty impressed. I was impressed with them to start the match.
Yeah, it was 1-0, then 1-1, then 2-1. Yeah, so they were like the first 3 games they were leading. So I told my team in game 4 like, hey, we kind of actually do need to win this one because it's gonna get a little dicey if we go down 3-1. You know what I mean? Like that would have been bad.
That's tough.
It would have been, dude. Man, if we got upset by fucking Ratking's team this match, that would have been fucking just after we 10-0'd them, like that would have been like the upset of the fucking century right there, right? Like holy shit.
Oh yeah. But
when you guys lose your you lose your first game, you end up winning the series. You win your first game and you lose the series.
Yeah, yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
drop that first game.
You gotta
You've
drop
been
it. Yep.
honestly, looking back at a lot of tournaments, at least the ones that I played against you, GKG. That's like
I know
fairly
it. It's a
common for your teams.
pattern.
Is
Oh, I
you
know
lose a
it.
bunch of the early
I
games and
know it,
then you
dude.
like you mop up at the second half. But I think
I,
part of that is
I
like
will.
maybe the pressure helps you.
That's part of it. I definitely always perform better under pressure. I I will just say though, Limp. I know. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I agree. But there was a couple of those matches that I remember in particular that I actually remember telling my team before the match was even played while I was stratting. I was like, look, the like I usually have a pretty good eye for what games we're gonna be my team's gonna be weak on and what games we're gonna be strong on, and usually I can tell like just how the maps line up, like if they're loaded, if they're front loaded one way or the other, right? And there was at least a couple of those that you're thinking of where I knew going into the match like our weakest games were in the beginning. So, but there is still something true to what you say because like in more recent years where that wasn't necessarily the case, like yeah, my teams just start cold for whatever reason. I try to like kind of like beat my guys to stop dropping, the first couple of games every time because we always start fucking so cold. But doing the dry runs can help, but I don't know. Just I don't know what it is about my fucking teams. Yeah, we start cold sometimes. It has been a
I think
pattern.
I'm wondering if there's part of it that's psychological in that a lot of people who play with you just kind of expect the win and kind of go into it kind of coasting a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah. I do think I was telling LSO like you can't be overconfident like
No.
against
I mean,
anybody, even against Rat's team. Like
no, I mean even though Ratking is like an inferior captain to you in LSO,
you
they
can
still have
always
a bunch of strong
lose.
players. They still have a bunch of strong players on that
If you
team.
don't
I
take them
think
seriously, like Myth is a game where you can get unlucky in like a couple different ways in a game, and that costs you the fucking game. You know what I mean? Even though you're playing against a much worse team, and like if that happens to you, like just 2 or 3 times in a match, like I've seen it before, and they can pull off a big fucking upset. It can happen. So
I would have liked to have seen like this. I think this could have been a more competitive match had Akira, Shy, and Tiri showed up. Obviously, I like the way that like honestly I like the way that Akira captains mostly over Rat King a lot of the time because it's at least it's more level. It's definitely more level.
yeah. I did watch. I will note that I watched Z Snake's match against Spy Kids the week prior. I was not impressed. I will just say, somebody said that Tiri showed up, and they. I don't know if they swept them or they did whatever they got 4-1 or 5-0, one of the two. They
They
smashed
swept
them.
them. It looks like
Did
yeah.
they? Okay. But like watching the games, like Akira, his trades, in my opinion, were no better than Rat's. In fact, Rat, at least for the first 5 games, definitely traded better. Where Akira might do a better job than Rat is in the squad distributions, in particular.
Yeah, I think he might communicate better too.
Maybe,
Also,
yeah.
that takes Rat King away from captaining and puts him as a player. And as a
Yeah,
player, he's always been like pretty strong.
I agree. I do prefer Rat as like if Rat can't play while he captains, then I do prefer him just to play. I don't see him giving his team an advantage really at all by capping. Someone else can just captain about the same level as what he's doing now, and put the flag D on the flag in myopia, right? And then allow him to play, and he's a perfectly solid player. Like that would have actually helped their team more. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, when we played MWC with him, he was very competent. Did what we needed him to do,
Yeah,
and was
yeah. I mean,
strong in his role. So
he's like,
he was always a strong player, but it's just
at his best, he's like he's a 4-baller at his best. Whether how consistent he can be doing that, but yeah, he can be that. He can be a 4-baller.
Yeah, he was a very strong trower once upon a time.
Yeah, decent. I don't know if I'd say strong, but decent. Like passable.
Yeah, let's go with passable. can get the job done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about that. I think that probably would give them more of a chance.
Yeah,
even just
they
to,
were.
you
They
know.
were. Oh, because yeah. Well, we rescheduled this just for them. So this was the best. They were gonna have an atrocious showing otherwise. This was the best showing they could get. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're missing Akira, Shy, and Tiri. You know, I'll be honest. Like Tiri showed up 3 games for them last match. I really don't think Tiri under. There was everybody. Yeah, some people were talking to me like, oh, maybe Tiri's gonna show up for them this week. I was like, I would bet almost any amount of money that Tiri is not going to show up for them this week. After
Yeah,
their team got
probably
10-0'd against us, like, he's not going to show up for that. You know what I mean?
It could,
So,
yeah. I think it could have been a whole different story if like Tiri and Shy were like engaged from the start of this tournament. But like, I can understand like why they weren't. I think both of them just wanted a way to play some decent myth games, and that's totally understandable.
yeah. All right. Well, I think we about covered it. Does anybody else have any closing comments before we wrap it up?
When is the finals?
Next week, yeah, Asmo?
Yeah, just Sunday fallback.
And we're doing this. We're doing the sudden death after the match, right?
We should. I don't think the tournament will ever get finished if it goes to sudden death and we don't finish it that week.
Yeah, especially with LSO's vacation going on. That's gonna
Yeah,
create a
we should
huge
just play.
issue. Yeah.
Just play BO3. Get it over with if it gets to that point.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and we'll definitely. I don't know when we'll do the podcast episode for that. I don't know if the loss is gonna sting so too bad for anybody to be able to do it right away or what. But I'd say I'd be down even if we lose to do it right afterwards or the same day or whatever, same weekend. Let's just say. Is it Sunday fallback? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it an hour earlier because there's so many games to play, or what?
It's not. It's the same, but I mean, if we need to reschedule, we could do at least like probably a half an hour earlier.
I would say it'll probably be pretty tough for me to cast it if depending on like when you guys want to do it.
Okay. Bad weekend for you?
Maybe we can talk about it after the pod ends.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's chat about it after. We're gonna go into the after party here, but Limp, you're not gonna keep Asmo and I up till 4 a.m. again. It's not gonna happen.
I don't keep anyone up. You guys are the ones talking.
You're pulling another DAC on us here because you're on the fucking Pacific time and always chatting up a storm, keeping us up late. So.
Well, I apologize.
No, it's all good. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thanks everybody listening to this. I hope the commentary is useful to contributing to future improved myth play. And yeah, the next episode's probably gonna be the grand finals commentary whenever we get around to it. So, till then.
Hey, we can all improve, you know.
Indeed. All right, peace out, everybody. See ya.
Thanks.